Okay, thank you for bearing with us for that. Now we're going to move into our general business action items, discussion, consideration, and approval. And it is the approval of consent agenda items. A, approval of minute meetings for November 18th, December 2nd, December 8th, December 9th, and December 16th. B, the ratification of payment of bills, which total bills was $1,335,824.98. Total payroll was $887,970.89, with the total bills and payroll being $2,222,815.87.
Could you restate the first total bill amount?
Oh. $1,335,844.98. And C, we have a letter of support for shooting range. D, amendment to Moab Office of Tourism contract with Madden Media. E, amendment to Moab Office of Tourism contract with Camp Stories PR. F is the 2026 cooperative agreement for the USU Extension Service. G, Housing Authority of Southeastern Utah Board appointment. H, lead board appointments. I, library board appointment. And J, the purchase approval for 2 UTVs using the Utah OHVR grant funds approved in June 2025. All right, Commissioner Heather.
Move to accept the consent agenda or approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, Commissioner Heather made the motion. Commissioner Winfield seconded. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous vote. And moving on to just a point of clarification on these. We had some board appointments in our consent agenda, and those were when we have one seat open and one applicant, then those tend to go on the consent agenda. We have a couple appointments that have multiple applicants for those positions, and so we're gonna move those on and discuss them now. So number 5 was the Healthcare Special Service District Board appointment. I am the liaison for that board, and we, in our December meeting, had a unanimous vote for Joette Langanese and Karen Ferry to be on that board. Commissioner Heather?
I move to appoint Joette Langanese and, sorry, what's Mrs. Karen Fury as the to the vacancies on the Healthcare Special Service District.
Okay, I'll second that. So we have a first by Jacques and a second by Commissioner Hadeen. And all in favor? Okay, unanimous vote. I guess I didn't ask for discussion, but we're good. All right, 6 is the Planning Commission Board appointments. And we'll have Andrew come up and speak about that.
Andrew Jackson, and County Planning Director. And there were several public comments about this. So I'm just going to go through and just kind of give people a little bit of the background on this. Sometimes for some folks, it may be reiterating what they already know. For others, it may be something that's new information to them. So when we have vacancies, there's a process that we go through with the vacancies, interviews, and voting. So the county staff notifies the commission, the county commission, that those members whose terms will expire at the end of the year. We had 3 that were expiring, and then the planning commission shall interview qualified candidates and provide a recommendation to the county commission. At the start of each interview, we gave everybody 3 minutes to kind of talk about what their experience is, why they want to serve on the planning commission, etc. We asked the same questions of everybody, so everybody responded equally. We had a couple applicants who could not make the meeting, so we took video of that. They submitted some video of their interview. So I believe they did. I didn't receive it, but I understand that some had submitted it. The commission, so this planning commission, We listed the candidates in alphabetical order. Each commissioner is entitled to 1 vote per vacancy. So each planning commission member had 3 votes. Mary Hoffman, because her term was up and she had requested to extend her position, she did not vote. So that's why there's we don't have all the votes in, but she abstained from the voting on that. And then the planning commission took that alphabetized list and then they voted after the candidate interviews, and all this is public. It's all on YouTube that you can watch. And instead of voting or setting forward a couple of names of individuals, they just sent the prioritized list based off of the votes that were given. The planning commissioner Jerry Place made the motion to forward a prioritized list of planning commission candidates to the county commission for consideration. Commissioner O'Brien seconded that motion. And so there wasn't something where they said, we want these 3. It's just, here's where our votes were. So we had Mary Hoffine with 5, Samuel Newman with 4, Lynn Jackson with 3, Randy Day with 2, Scott McFarland 2, Sarah Kimmerl with 1, Aaron Holland with 1, Shane Bartosh, Kevin Bowden, Scott Boyne, Steve McClure, Preston Paxson received no votes, and then Dennis Brown withdrew. And I'm going to have to answer any questions you might have.
Mary, I'd like to make a motion to approve Mary Hoffine, Samuel Newman, and Lynn Jackson to the planning board's positions.
I'll second that. We have a motion from Commissioner McGann and a second from Commissioner Hadid. And go ahead, Trish.
Okay, I am one of the liaisons to the planning commission. I think, first of all, we just have a phenomenal planning commission. It's a big job. They meet a couple of times a month, and each meeting is at least 2 hours. So it's a big job. You really have to have a deep understanding of planning and or an interest in it, because we've definitely had people come on to that commission that didn't really have an understanding of planning and have absorbed that land use code and taken it and run with it. I think we have an extremely diverse planning commission, and it's intriguing to me. I watch them banter. I watch them banter with grace. And so I think these recommendations, they bantered about this, and I think everybody said their piece and felt like I was honored that so many people came forward and put their name in the hat, but I think they sent forth, 3, a huge list, but I think we have 3 that stand out with more votes than others. And so I think we should honor the planning commission's prioritized list.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any more discussion? Right?
I'd like to make a substitute motion. I'd like to elect Mary Hoffine, Sarah Kimmerly, and Randy Day to the Planning Commission.
Okay, so we have a substitute motion from Brian Martinez, and we have a second by Winfield.
And I'll continue on from that.
Okay,
So I also am the other liaison there and was there during the discussion with everybody. And rather than the votes, I'd really like to just commend all of the people that came in, and there were such great candidates all around. And it was a tough job, I think, choosing and making those votes for each one of the people there. But more than the votes, I'm looking at my sheets. Mr. Jackson here provided us some sheets, and I took notes of what the folks were saying. And I can see that the reason that I chose these folks is they all have, besides just the diversity, the number of things that were said of their interviews. Randy Day, the experience that he kind of provided right there was pretty unmatched, as well with Mary Hoffine, who also has such great experience. And then kind of off of some of the comments made by Aaron Lindbergh and Sarah Kimmerly, just her ability or her willingness to do the research and the time that she's willing to invest. I think that she would also be a very good candidate on the planning commission.
Trish, go ahead.
But if the other
I
people
know, I was
go
gonna
first,
Does anyone else have comments?
everybody goes before I go.
Ready? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not opposed to the idea of having developers on the planning commission. We've had them in the past. The recent past, we had Steve Evers, and I think he was an excellent addition. He brings that perspective. Both Randy and Sarah are developers, and I struggle with that. I just think that's too much. And again, I'm just gonna go back to, we had, you know, a prioritized list. You'll note, you know, Sarah only had one vote. And Randy got a couple, but I'm gonna push back on that. I think we need to stick with Mary, Sam, and Lynn. I think it's a great recommendation.
Okay, any other comments? Commissioner Heather?
I'm gonna agree with Trish on that, and mostly just because I do think this has been a good planning commission. I think everyone's worked well together. I've appreciated the perspectives there, and I think I just take their recommendations more to heart than picking a few folks off of the back end of the list.
Okay, Commissioner Winfield, go ahead.
Yeah, I think these are great choices that Brian's brought forth. I do agree that there were a ton of applicants and a lot of qualified people, and be more than one who's disappointed because they're not chosen, but I'll push back on the developer stance a little bit. I think Commissioner Hedin and myself both could be considered developers, although we're pretty small time. I don't think that should qualify somebody from being a commissioner or from being on the planning commission. So I think they bring experience and some levity to that board and some diversity. So I'm favorable with moving forward for a vote.
Okay, Commissioner McGann.
I have rarely gone against a board. I have in the past, I have really strong reasons we could do so, but I don't think the reasons that brought up are justify removing, especially Sam Newman, who received 4 votes. I think if the board voted 5 people and 4 people voted for Sam, I think that's incredibly important that we keep those 2 on the board. You know, I just think these people gave their time and their effort, and they sat through the interviews and they thought about it, and I think we should honor our hardworking planning board by approving minimum. I think the 3 top votes win getters should get it. But I definitely think to put someone on that received half the votes of Sam and the other person only received 1/3, you know, 1/4 of the votes, that I just don't think that justifies changing what the planning commission set forth.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Jacques.
I just wanted to clarify too, that I very much support Mary Hoffman's position, even though I'm not going to vote for this motion with all 3 of those, that I think Mary's a fantastic choice and brings a ton of experience and value to that board.
Okay. And go ahead, Commissioner Winfield.
I'll just remind the commission that in the first 2 years that I was sitting commissioner here, there were many board appointments where somebody didn't even get a vote, but yet they were put on boards over the recommendations by other boards. So it's kind of a weak argument. We're gonna look to people that are qualified and we want them to do the job and hope that they do it well, and we'll move forward with that. But many boards were misaligned previously. It's not really the argument here. I think the fact that we have so many qualified applicants is amazing, and I think that we have a lot of boards and there are a lot of other positions that they'll be able to possibly weigh in on and interview for in the future. So I wish them well.
I'm gonna make a comment, then I'm gonna call for a vote. Do you want to go ahead, Trish?
Just one quick comment if I can, or a comment afterwards after this.
I just want to, I attended the meeting that night, and it was awesome that we had so many people out there, and we appreciate all of their time. And I do want to recognize that our boards are recommendations, and that the county commission does have the ultimate authority to choose who is going to be on those boards. Go ahead, Trish.
So really quick, one time, Bill, the county commission overrode a board recommendation since you've been on the commission before this new commission in 2025. So I'll solidify that. It was a groundwater and sewer recommendation, and one time we overrode it. This will be the second time, if we do this tonight, the second time in the last year that we've just manipulated the planning commission alone, just the planning commission. There's many other boards that we have not followed their recommendations. So I just think it's really just, it's pitiful at best. We really should be honoring that commission and their recommendations.
Okay, so we have a substitute motion from Commissioner Martinez and a second by Commissioner Field. So I'll call for a vote on that motion.
You need to repeat, Mike?
Yeah, substitute motion. So that substitute motion was the nomination of Mary Hoffine, Sarah Kimberly, and Randy Day to the Planning Commission. And now I'll call for a vote.
Oh.
All in favor. Oh, do you have another comment?
If
Haven't gone
if
yet.
it's
Go
allowed,
ahead.
find myself a rock and a hard place. I don't like either one of you guys' plans.
Fair enough.
I would have gone a different route. But I'm just having a hard time. I know most of the applicants. It's been great. I welcome their expertise, but either one of those options isn't superior to me. So,
Abstain.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and call for a vote on the substitute motion. So all in favor, go ahead and vote. And those opposed? And those abstaining? So we have the substitute fails. So we'll go back to the original motion.
original's gonna fail too.
Yeah, the original motion is going to be, that was a motion from Commissioner McGann and seconded by Commissioner Hadeen for Mary Hoffine, Sam Newman, and Lynn Jackson. So I'll call for a vote. All in favor of that? Those opposed?
I don't like either one.
Okay, so we're just gonna move forward.
No, you'll need a new motion that you guys have to find compromise.
Mike, got a suggestion?
What am I going then?
Personal suggestion for the one of seven. I would really look towards Lynn, Mary, and Sarah Kimberly. I do not prefer some of the things that were said at the meeting. Many parts of that actually should have been called out. Even the ageist comments there, but I think I think it moving forward with those three, bringing some new blood on, keeping Mary because of her background in it, and we are going into rewriting this.
You making a motion? I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion if, okay, to put Mary Hoffine, Lynn Jackson, and Kevin Bowden on the planning commission. Kevin Bowden.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
Can I advocate for Kevin real quick or after Brian?
Oh, and you got the.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Kevin grew up here. He's a contractor. I think he brings a very interesting perspective in the sense that, you know, he knows planning and zoning, but through that lens. I think he should be fairly palatable and, you know, to most people. I think most people could work easily with him, so I'm gonna make that pitch.
Go ahead, Commissioner McCurdy.
Can I on the fly make a motion to go into closed session?
You have to go into closed session. If you're gonna, you could do a substitute motion, you guys can discuss it, it's up to you. But you'll need 5 votes to go into closed session.
I vote we go into closed session.
I'll second. Yeah, and you have to list a basis for going into closed session.
Personal professional comments.
Character.
Character
competency, and
competency, yep.
fitness. Requires five individuals voting in affirmative to go into closed session.
Okay,
Okay, so we have a motion to go into closed session by Commissioner McCurdy, a second by Commissioner Winfield. So all those in favor to go into closed session? Okay, so those opposed?
well, yeah,
Okay, so we have, that fails. We have, those opposed were Commissioner Hadeen, Commissioner Heather, and Commissioner McGann.
well, do I
You
just say it out loud now?
You return to the original motion and you return to the discussion on the original motion. I'd encourage commissioners to focus on the positive attributes of potential individuals that they'd like. If there's a suggestion for a different motion, they can always do a substitute motion. Commissioners are encouraged to, be cautious with the words and statements that we utilize, and they can focus on the highlights of the positive attributes of individuals that they'd like to highlight.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure I read it.
Commissioner McCurdy, go ahead.
With obvious conflicts, why can people vote on things?
With obvious conference. They can't.
Or put forward motions?
They wouldn't, so all of the same rules apply for conflicts of interest. If I'm trying to divine what you are trying to assume, there isn't necessarily a conflict that would trigger for the individual listed names of the people that we have. Again, I would encourage commissioners to focus on the positive attributes of individuals who they'd like to recommend. If they don't support them, then they can vote against them. If they have a substitute motion, they can make a substitute motion. Again, I would encourage commissioners to focus the conversation in a positive way.
Oh, be more positive here.
Okay, so right now we have a motion on the floor to appoint Mary Hoffine, Lynn Jackson, and Kevin Bowden to the planning commission. That was from Tricia Dean, seconded by Jacques Hadler. Is there any more discussion or should we call for a vote? No more discussion, so we'll call for a vote. Those in favor? And those opposed? And abstaining, and so we have that failed with Commissioner McCandless, Commissioner Winfield, and Commissioner Martinez in opposition, and Commissioner McCurdy abstaining.
I do have an odd recommendation, and is that okay?
Go ahead.
I mean, we can do what the planning commission did. We can go around, each three of us give our top three, and we just take the ones with the most votes.
So we have to have four affirmative votes for the individuals.
Okay,
If the
okay.
commission finds itself making an observation, the commission can do whatever it wants. Common factor, I think Mary Hoffine's been listed on every single one. If you guys don't want to do it as a package deal, you guys literally could vote for them one at a time.
Okay.
If that's the difficulty that the commission finds itself in. Or if there's somebody that's voting in, that is not voting, if they have a suggestion that they'd like to vote for, they could. Also, if we find ourselves in an impasse, the commission could come back to this later in this meeting. But you guys need 4 votes. The commission needs 4 votes to approve anything. So that's where you folks find yourselves.
I think Commissioner Winfield is next. And Commissioner McCurdy.
I'm gonna restate the substitute motion from earlier and hopefully Mike, so we can,
You wouldn't be on a substitute motion anymore, or a fresh motion.
I'm just restating it. Make the motion for what the substitute motion mentioned earlier, Mike, and I know it's a tough one, but we'd like to.
You can't make a motion that has previously been voted down unless you were in the negative of that vote.
Okay,
That avoids commissioners repeatedly asking for the same particular thing. The people that would be able to raise that motion would be those that voted against it or those that didn't vote at all.
okay.
So abstainable can make that motion?
Yes,
Me.
still correct. Yes.
Do you have another comment, Commissioner McCurdy, or we're gonna go ahead?
What was the other, I want to restate those previous names that were on the secondary motion that you made.
The one that I made was Randy Day, Sarah Kimberly, and Mary Hoffman.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Yeah.
So were you trying to, maybe I just wasn't understanding, were you stating that you're concerned that planning commissioners are going to have conflicts? Is that what you were stating? I guess I didn't.
Both us would have commission. Voting on people for planning commission would have obvious call outs.
Okay, I
Or
understand now,
obvious
but I
conflict.
wasn't sure where you were going with that. Okay, thank you.
yeah,
We're gonna go to Commissioner McGann.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Mary Hoffline for the planning commission.
Okay,
I'll second that.
so we have a motion from Commissioner McGann to approve Mary Hoffine with the second by Commissioner Hadeen. Any discussion? Okay, let's call for a vote. We're gonna call for a vote for Mary Hoffine for Planning Commission. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous.
What about?
1 of 3 down.
Okay, so Commissioner Winfield.
So legal here.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion for two individuals that were part of a previous?
If not, I can.
I would defer that it's essentially the same, but except for separated, so no.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner McCurdy.
I'd like to vote Sarah Kimberly and Randy Day into planning commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner McCurdy and seconded by Commissioner Winfield
Second, can someone who previously voted gets to say, okay,
for Sarah Kimberly and Randy Day to be on the planning commission board. Any discussion? Call for
Talk to you after.
a vote. Okay, I'm gonna call for a vote. Those in favor of this motion? And those opposed? Okay, so that passes 4-3 with Commissioner Hadeen, Commissioner Heather, and Commissioner McGann in opposition.
Sorry, I didn't.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, our next one is number 7, airport board appointment, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this to Commissioner Winfield because he's the liaison.
That board had, I believe, 6 applicants that were all interviewed last night. Had a good round table from everybody that was present and came down to 2, which eventually was narrowed down to 1, and that one was Mr. Throgmorton is who the airport board recommended move forward. So I think that there's one that isn't listed on here that showed up for an interview too. It came via Zoom. Their name didn't make it on our list here, but that was gentleman that works for Red Tail Aviation, so. But again, AJ Throgmorton was the one that was recommended to move forward with.
All right, that Commissioner McCurdy.
Well, if she wants it, she can.
Oh, I thought you were.
I was like,
Commissioner McCurdy, go ahead.
motion to accept AJ Throgmorton as airport board.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion from Commissioner McCurdy and a second by Commissioner Winfield to accept AJ Throgmorton for the airport board. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Those in favor? Those opposed? And abstaining 5. So that passed 6-0 or 6-1 with Commissioner Martinez abstaining. Number 8 is the OHV recreation grant. We have Maddie Logowitz here. About this. And Hilton.
There a microphone somewhere?
It's
No,
right, it's built.
It's above you,
Good enough. Okay, great.
But you haven't had to present for a while.
on you.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys like a quick refresher since I think the last time the commission saw this item, that was July 15th. It was a while. And then if you have any specific questions, you can ask me and Kelton, who's now our OHV trail coordinator as of January 1st. Okay, so overview of the OHVR grant program quickly. So this grant program actually has 7 different programs within it. So it's got a different program for trail work, one for search and rescue, one for access protection, one for education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a few more. So the one that Green County applied to in July of 2025 was specifically for education, and it included a scope of work that included OHV trail coordinator activities. So some like project coordination and hands-on trail work, as well as the trail ambassador program and like visitor education. The application was approved unanimously by the commission. And then Kelton and I presented to Utah's OHV Advisory Council on August 20th. At the council review, there was a few changes made to our request. So because we were kind of in the midst of figuring out how the Trail Ambassador program was going to restructure for 2026, they requested that we reduce or decided that we reduce the scope of work from both 2026 and 27 to just 2026. And so basically all the line items in our original request were decreased by half, so because it's half the time. And then also because it was kind of in this moment of change, we sort of all agreed it would be best to wait to approve or execute the contract until we kind of knew like what the restructuring was going to look like. So since the commission voted on that on November 18th, it kind of clears the way for us to move forward with this project. Some budget information. So the total award from the grant is about $98,000. And of that, about $63,000 is going to go to the OHV trail coordinator salary, and then a few additional supplies like tools and things. And then about $35,000 of that is going to go to the new nonprofit to continue on with that educational scope of work. And that was also included on that November 18th agenda item in one of the documents where the assets were transferred. So the county match for this grant is about $27,000. And this is specifically for the OHV trail coordinator benefits because those aren't eligible for the grant. So basically the county needs to pay those for the rest of the funding or for in exchange for the funding for the salary for that full-time position. And then there's a few like small line items for supplies on there. And then the county in-kind match is about $11,000. And this is basically coming from like a percentage of my time supervising Hilton, and then also volunteer hours working on trail projects. And then finally, the combined partner cash and in-kind match for this grant is about $14,000. And so that includes the new nonprofit and also materials contributed by the BLM. Questions?
Go ahead.
Just I believe it was the $27,000 match for the benefits in our 2026 budget.
Yeah, it says so.
Okay.
Quick question. You just mentioned, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
You just mentioned that the in-kind match is 11,000.
27.
Yeah.
Well, the cash match,
Applicants in-kind match, you said was 11,000, is that correct?
yes, and so that is,
And then I'm just curious because in the document right here, it has $18,117.15.
so if you're looking at the bottom column, so that's actually showing so we're the applicants.
Yeah.
But that number is actually subdivided, so that bright yellow one is the total. And then if you go to the right, it's got two subtotal columns. So the subtotal for Grand County in kind is about 11,000, and then the subtotal for the nonprofit in kind is about 6,000.
It's on the final page. You'll have to zoom in, it's in that last.
Zoomed in, I'm looking at it, just trying to.
Yeah. And I added that to original budget just because it's,
Yeah.
since there's now more partners involved, it's easier to like make sure everyone's on track with their spending and budgeting to have it kind of that way.
Yeah, the total amount
Okay.
is 11,665.
Breakdown right there. So,
And that's in kind, so basically the county is already paying me as a department head and then volunteer labor. So the in kind doesn't cost anything, it's just like what we can show, it's basically community.
Go ahead.
So we'd be moving to approve going forward with the grant request.
It would be to execute the contract.
Execute the contract.
Is that the language, Stephen?
Yes. Okay. I'll make the motion. I move to approve executing the contract for this OHVR grant as presented by Patty.
And then we got a second by Brian here. Thank you. So any more discussion? All right, we have a motion to execute the OHV recreation grant from Commissioner Heather with a second from Commissioner Martinez. All in favor? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, number 7.
9.
9. Resolution adopting the Grand County Data Privacy Program. Our Information Technology Director, Matt.
Hi. Can I talk up here?
Yes.
Excuse me for me to stand. Hello, hopefully it should be more of a housekeeping item than anything. This is a resolution adopting Grand County's data privacy program policy. This is a ongoing effort with the state of Utah. I can go out in the weeds in so many ways on this. I don't really want to though. What this resolution really does though is to clarify the language to stay in line with what current state code says, to keep us happy with UAC, and to keep all of our T's and I's on this one. Because they'll have to see a clean resolution adopted in the format that's applicable to our county. So that's what you see in front of you. So happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you for working on this. Go ahead, Commissioner McGinn.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution for the Grand County Data Privacy Program.
First by McGinn, second from McCurdy. More discussion, questions? Go ahead, Commissioner.
I've worked on this too. I think UAC is actually the body that's kind of moving it forward, but it's actually the state.
In some ways, yes. You
State that's
actually work in coordination quite a bit, yeah.
So that's all. I just want to clarify that.
Okay. Any other discussion items, questions? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, all I wanted to say is I'm just really glad that we have met with the county. Here at state level, I can attest to after being at UAC and things of that nature. And I'm really happy he's here to lead this process for us.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call for a vote. Those in favor of the motion to accept this resolution. And that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming again. And on to number 10, which is the resolution to amend the compensatory and flex time accrual rates. And we'll have this by our Personal Services Director, Tess Barger.
Good evening, everybody. All right. So for background, our current compensatory and flex time accrual policy indicates that exempt staff and non-exempt staff can accrue up to 24 hours for non-exempt staff. So our hourly staff, it's called compensatory time, meaning if they work 1 hour of overtime, they get 1.5 hours of compensatory time. They can use that for vacation, sick, etc. For our exempt staff, aka our salary staff, they can also accrue up to 24 hours of flex time. So it's a 1-for-1. They work 1 hour over 80 in a pay period, they get 1 hour of flex time. We have over time received requests to look at increasing this, and particularly because we did reclassify a number of positions to exempt. We thought that it would be a good time to try out increasing the compensatory / flex time accrual maximum of 24 hours to 80 hours, which is the equivalent of 2 weeks. And again, it allows staff to earn additional PTO so that they can instead use that for vacation, et cetera, as opposed to either getting that paid out in overtime or losing those hours in the case for our exempt staff. What I will say as a caveat is, as usual, we're constantly looking at what could work better for staff. And so we may be recommending to do something different for exempt staff moving forward, but that is the background as to why we're putting forward the recommendation to make this resolution for our current accrual rates.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Tess? Go ahead, Commissioner Martinez.
I move to approve the resolution to amend compensatory time and flex time accrual rates from a maximum of 24 hours to a maximum of 8 hours.
Okay.
I'd like to just make a quick comment.
All right, we got a second by Commissioner McGinn, and go ahead, Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, I was in the budget advisory board meetings when this was discussed, so thank you for your work going forward with this. It came to a surprise to me, that we had such a limited amount, so I do think this is moving in the right direction for our staff, so thank you.
I agree with that.
Okay, Commissioner McCurdy.
Wanted to disclose that my wife works for the sheriff's department.
I was just looking at that on there. I didn't. Agenda, huh?
Okay, so to close this.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't have, we should have. that.
Yeah, we should have done it at the beginning.
I'm like, I don't see it on.
I don't see it on.
We're leaping through here.
Okay, thank you for those discussions. All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Martinez and a second from Commissioner McGinn to approve this. Do we have any more discussion or questions? Tess? No. Go ahead and call for a vote. Those in favor? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I am
And we're here again.
I am here
Okay.
again. Good evening, commissioners. I am presenting item 11, so resolution to amend our education assistance policy. Our policy currently very clearly indicates that employees are able to access our education assistance program. However, there was a gap in addressing whether or not appointeds were able to access this. So appointed positions include our justice court judge as well as our chief deputy positions throughout our elected offices in the county. And so this adds that verbiage so that it is clarified that appointeds are also eligible for education reimbursement. And while we didn't include this in this current resolution because that was the first kind of big ticket item that we needed to resolve, I do certainly feel and would recommend moving forward if it is of interest to the commission that electeds also be able to access education reimbursement. I certainly think that a well-educated, well-trained workforce is going to serve our county best. But for now, the resolution is to amend it to include appointeds.
Just a
Go
quick,
ahead, Trish.
so if we do this, is it gonna modify their budget? Or I was trying to, or did we already? Okay,
By the budget
perfect.
for 2026, that's
Okay,
an excellent
perfect.
question. And that's something that has been clarified that if those departments did include schooling expenses, that's great. If not, then it would be one of those they can, moving forward.
Right. In the
For
next
2027, make those
Perfect.
plans.
Thanks, Tess.
Thank you.
I was trying to remember.
And Commissioner McCurdy, your hand up.
I move to adopt the resolution to amend the Grand County Employee Handbook Education Assistant Policy as stated.
Okay. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Commissioner Martinez.
Just once again, I was in the Budget Advisory Board meeting when this was brought up. And it seems like this is more just to kind of clear a path of something that we already do for everybody else. Thanks again for the housekeeping.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Okay, we're gonna call for a vote. Those in favor, we had a Commissioner McCurdy with a second by Commissioner Winfield. Those in favor? And it passes unanimously.
All
Thank
right,
you.
excellent. Thank you all very much.
Okay, number 12 is an ordinance for the zoning map amendment to Lavina. Andrew Jackson, our planning and zoning director.
I just wanted to also point out that in the agenda summary and the staff report, there, today I just amended those motions and the findings of fact, just so that we're doing some housekeeping and making sure that we meet all those requirements for that. So just letting you know that those have been updated from previously. I'll give you a background on the what the planning commission action was, and then I'll get into a little bit of discussion about what this project is. The application came before the planning commission on November 22nd, 2025. Planning Commissioner Aaron Lidberg made a motion to approve the zone change as requested, with Jerry Clace seconding the motion. Those voting in favor, Megan Schaefer, Jerry Clace, Anthony Mancuso. Those voting opposed, Rick Palfine, Aaron Lidberg, and Robert O'Brien abstaining from voting. It was we stated that that motion passed, but it was 3-3. So that didn't pass because the bylaws of the planning commission require at least 4 to move the motion forward. And so after that, we went back to the planning commission to make sure that we had an actual passable motion. That was done at the following meeting, and it was moved forward unanimously for this application to the planning, to the county commission without recommendation for either approval or just without any recommendation, and that passed. The applicant Foothold Inc. is requesting a zone change on various parcels it owns at 1972 Plateau Drive for a residential town home development. The subdivision has already been approved, and the applicant owns a townhouse on the approximate site and proposes to build additional townhomes. We did have some public comment associated with this, some concerns from residents. Various public comments were received at the public hearing, Concerns were overall density, slope of the cul-de-sac, parking width and capacity of Plateau Drive, flooding and access angle to Highway 191. The applicant has answered questions in 9.2.5, which relates to items A through K on zoning requests, as well as the general plan states 4 different requirements. The proposal must be consistent with the land use plan's overall vision and policy direction. The use or designation must meet the planning principles outlined in the land use plan. The proposed use or designation should be included within the primary or secondary uses for place types and the location on the map. All designated overlay zoning districts, associated land use or design requirements are met. And this is listed in the new general plan, the future land use plan of Spanish Valley as flex space, commercial flex space. It's highlighted on got a map there. Yeah, mixed use, flex commercial, so that could be highway commercial, or some of the other commercial uses associated with that. They're requesting the commercial zone change. Part of the property is already commercial. They're requesting a zone change so they can build these units within that commercial zone.
Okay. Some questions. I think it's my first one, Andrew, and it's gonna sound like I'm picking on you a little bit, but so why are we not on the agenda calling these rezones anymore? Because I just, at least the time I've been on the commission, we've always called them rezones. I think that the community's very used to that. So I think it's a little odd to, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think
Zoning map
it's
amendment versus a rezone?
right.
Yeah, so technically it is a zoning map amendment because you're amending the
I
zoning map.
understand that.
And so, I mean, I'm fine calling it whatever.
Okay, yeah, just a thought.
I don't have any preference.
Because I just think that the community is pretty used to it, and it's just maybe something that's a little bit more, just, it's like, oh, I'm used to that.
And there were public hearings at both the.
Yeah, I understand.
Planning commission.
I understand. And then maybe this is more of a question for you, Stephen, but my understanding is if no recommendation is set forth, it's a denial or it's a negative recommendation. You can't, the planning commission can't send forward no recommendation.
Correct. Correct. For there to be a recommendation, one way or the other, they're technically supposed to make a finding, an affirmation or a negation of it.
Right.
When it was sent back, my understanding is they declined to provide clarification on that.
Right, because I felt like if my memory served me, Andrew, you know, a lot of them just didn't have the background information. So they, you know, a few of them, because we were missing some commissioners and then they showed up and it's like, oh, well, now you guys have to pass or deny this. And they were like,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's
what my understanding was on it. However, there's also a section of state code that says that if the planning commission doesn't send forward a recommendation with a timely manner, then the county commission can on that. And I think that's kind of what we were looking at with the no recommendation that it wasn't done within a timely.
Or, yeah,
the reason it wasn't done in a timely manner is we messed it up, right? Because we sent forth a recommendation, tell me if I'm wrong, sent forth a recommendation, but it did not pass. We sent forward a recommendation that it passed and it didn't. So it got here and then it had to be sent back.
Right, but the timely manner, so they would have had the opportunity at this last planning commission meeting to make a recommendation for approval or denial, and that would be considered timely. So the timeliness wasn't that we had to repeat the action or revisit the motion, but the timely manner is that when they have this opportunity, they didn't forward anything. That's.
Okay, we move to Commissioner McCurdy.
I'd like to make the motion in.
And I have amended.
Is there an ordinance number? Do we know that?
it gets assigned after it's passed.
Gets assigned, so I can leave it TBD.
Yep, and then you've got the updated. Suggest motion just with a few.
Yeah, finding the foothold the foothold request complies with the intent of the issues for consideration in the Grand County Land Use Code, section 9.5.2, items A through K, and the request addresses conditions 1 through 4 of the future land use plan of Spanish Valley. I move to approve the ordinance number TBD, amending the Grand County zoning map from large lot residential, general business, and highway commercial to highway commercial for Foothold Inc., located approximately 1972 Plateau Drive, being the entirety of the final plat of the community at Venus subdivision, parentheses 02-OCBA-0001 through 02-0CBA-0008, end of parentheses, and parcel 02-0017-0198 in Grand County, Utah, exact legal description on file.
And that's slightly different than the parcel number listed on the original.
Yeah, so it is, so there's a subdivision, those are all the parcel numbers associated with that. And additionally, if it's possible, about the planning, considering the planning commission's recommendation, which was to forward it without recommendation, and the staff report and a testimony given at the public comment period, if that could be.
Okay, so Commissioner Winfield seconded that.
Before he does that, do you want to add those?
I would love to add those.
And do we have any discussion on the motion?
I'd like to go ahead.
I've already spoke, so you guys go ahead.
Sorry, Bill.
I wanted to note that we did have one person come in here with some concerns about parking and traffic on those streets, and there's already a little bit up on top by the two existing duplexes that have been built there. So I just would recommend that we try and go to some great lengths here to accommodate your neighbors, because it just works better. Let's work with those neighbors and find some way to deal with that parking issue, please. My only request.
Okay, Commissioner Heather.
I noticed there's no legal review. Is that?
No, it has been.
Oh, it has been. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't.
Okay.
It hadn't been reviewed.
Great.
And Bart's gone through it, fine tooth comb.
Okay, Commissioner Hadid.
So I'm just gonna reiterate my ills about rezoning. And yes, we do have an approved future land use map and future land use plan, but we still do not have the other pieces of that puzzle. And so for me, there's a disconnect to keep trying to use those to justify these rezones, because we don't have the updated land use code and we don't have a new zoning map yet. And so I'm struggling, and many of the planning commissioners are struggling with using those as justification for these rezones. But I'm going to go back to this idea of we need to be very, very cognizant, and it's nothing against the developer, to look at a developer and say, please do this and please do that, because this individual could turn around and sell it tomorrow, especially when you get rezoned from large lot residential to highway commercial. And here's a simple way to think about it. Large lot residential, I might be able to sell a large lot for 150 grand. You know, I can turn around and sell, they'll say an acre, sell an acre of large lot residential, which is 2 lots, doesn't really matter, for 200 grand. I can turn around and sell an acre of highway commercial for 2 million. So the reality is, when we're rezoning, we can't be looking at these specific developers. We need to think about the future and what's going to happen to this property. Unless we want to have a rezone and have a site plan that's affiliated with it, and they go hand in hand. But to rezone, we have to remember that this might not be the developer, as we've seen in King Creek, when the developer was supposed to be building a very small campground. We need to know that who knows what it's going to be. And remember Plateau, and I'm sure you've all driven down Plateau. First of all, you've got the Hawks complex, a bajillion children, and many other families. It is not a divided road. It does not have any kind of divide running down it. It's a very small road. So when we're talking about highway commercial all the way down that wash, and I am gonna use the word wash, we're talking that they could put a hotel down there. They could put a gas station down there. So I just want us to be very cognizant of what we're doing to that neighborhood. So to say that, yeah, maybe they'll just be townhomes, we don't know that. We don't have any idea what that might be someday. It could be a Maverick in somebody's backyard. And so I just think we have to be very, very careful and cognizant. I'm not a fan of rezones. I think we need to be doing things holistically, and we are in the midst of this holistic process that we're still not finished with. So I'm not going to be voting for this. I'm not a big fan of rezones at this point, especially when we're so close to having a holistic mechanism to where we can we don't even have to be, we don't have to be debating them after that. If they're in a zone and they've been rezoned, we're done. But I think this is I lived on Plateau taking care of a friend's daughter for a year. It is a very small road with a ton of children. I'm really concerned about this.
Okay, Commissioner McCurdy.
Reasoning from, my put forth of the motion, I would want a Maverick on the highway where this is. I would want highway commercial zoning on the highway.
But it's not, it's gonna be the whole thing. 14.
And I am the neighborhood.
acres.
Okay, any other discussion? Go ahead,
Sure.
Commissioner Winfield.
I think that we're very clear that you don't like rezones. But once this new land use code is updated, you'll still have developers that are looking to possibly do something different. And they're still gonna come forward to people. We don't have the opportunity to sit back here and expect people to wait and wait and wait until that's accomplished. And these people are moving forward. And I support what they're trying to do. And I think we need to move on with this and call for a vote.
You have something there, Commissioner?
Let me make it clear that use by right, they don't have to wait for anything. They have highway commercial, they have general business, and they have large lot residential. They can do a whole bunch right now. This is an up zone. This is them asking for way more than they have use by right. So they don't have to wait for anything. You can do a lot. He has the ability to do a lot with what he has right now. So that to make that comment is not appropriate.
Okay, Commissioner McGann.
I'm just not comfortable having commercial taken all the way up to where it is. I mean, when you're there, that is residential area. I think the way it's zoned right now, where there's and there is a highway commercial is appropriate. I don't see any need for zone change.
Any more discussion? Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner McCurdy and a second from Commissioner Winfield. I'll call for a vote. Those in favor? And those opposed? Okay, so the motion passes 4-3 with Commissioner Hedin, Commissioner Heather, and Commissioner McGann in opposition. And we'll move on to number 13. Zoning map amendments for Bates.
And again, Andrew Jackson, the Grand County Planning Director, Kenneth and Julia Bates on a approximately 15-acre parcel split by Spanish Valley Drive into an 11.31 acre parcel and a 4.6 acre parcel. Located at approximately 4747 South Spanish Valley Drive. The 11.31 acre parcel is subject to a conservation easement held by the Nature Conservancy, which extinguishes all development rights, including the transfer of development rights to another parcel. Since a larger parcel is under that easement, any consideration of the zone change request must solely be based on the merits of the zone change of the 3.46 acre parcel. We have some description in here, legal description of 5-acre parcel, but that includes the political way, which typically we zone property to the center line of the road. At the Planning Commission, Planning Commissioner Derek Clace made a motion to recommend approval of the zone change request for Ken and Julia Bates from rural residential to small lot residential. Commissioner Aaron Lindberg seconded the motion carried with 4 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 absent, and Chair Mancuso abstained because he deals with the Nature Conservancy in his job. We have issues for consideration A through K, as well as the 4 items of the general plan. And please note again that there are additional findings in the suggested motion, including planning commission's recommendations, staff report, and the testimony given during the public comment period. I have not received any public comment on this item. There was no public comment in person at the planning commission.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner Martinez.
I move to approve ordinance number TBD, amending the Grand County zoning map from rural residential to small lot residential for Ken and Julia Bates, being a 3.46 acre portion of tax parcel number 02-0036-001, located at approximately 4747 South Spanish Valley Drive in Grand County, Utah. Exact legal description on file, following the staff recommendation and the planning commission recommendation.
Okay, before I get a second.
Commissioner, could you also read the paragraph above? It's the finding that the.
Yep. Including the finding that Bates' request complies with the intent of the issues for consideration in the Grand County Land Use Code, section 9.52, items A through K. Request addresses conditions 1 through 4 of the future land use plan of Spanish Valley.
Second, McCurdy. Do you have any discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself from this because I'm pretty good friends with Buzz, so
Okay.
stay out of it.
Any other discussion? We have a motion from Commissioner Martinez and a second from Commissioner McCurdy to accept the ordinance, taking the zoning map amendments for the Bates. All in favor? Okay, that passes 6-0 with a Higgins abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 14. We have an ordinance, the Grand County Affordable Housing Loan Plan, and Commissioner Martinez is going to be.
Okay.
Good.
And so give me 1 second to stop. So just, I read right here, the Grand County Commission previously approved an affordable housing loan commitment to close the funding gap for a 60% AMI low income housing tax credit LIHTC workforce housing project. As part of the action, I required that the affordable housing in the motion loan be adopted before the loan is funded. The proposed Grand County Affordable Housing Loan Policy would establish a framework for the county to provide subordinate financing to affordable housing developments. Policy is modeled on Utah's best practices, including the Olene Walker Housing Loan Fund Program guidance, rural community assistance cooperation, lending standards, and accomplishes the goals of the 2023 Moab Area Affordable Housing Plan. Policy is designed to A, close funding gaps in affordable housing, capital stacks to make projects financially feasible, to leverage other public and private investment in affordable housing, and then to support Grand County's workforce and gateway community housing needs upon adoption. Staff will be prepared to proceed with the loan documents for the previously approved project loan. Do not see her in here, but that's just fine. This document was did go through the housing subcommittee. We brought it up earlier this week and discussed it. We did make a few small changes to the so here that was it's who's not eligible, the eligibility, that document right there. And I guess we'll open it up for discussion.
Lisa's in the back. Do you want her?
Is she?
She's
Yeah,
back.
she's
Hiding.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, there's Melissa. She was hiding right there. Melissa, do you want to come up just to answer any questions that we have? Melissa, Jeffers, went ahead and got this policy in front of the housing subcommittee. Is there anything that you'd like to say on this?
No, you covered it. Questions, great project.
Okay, so go ahead, Commissioner McCurdy.
I had a prepared statement and then I'll make a motion too. I wrote this down because it means a lot to me. So with this loan policy moving forward, I am happy that I am personally happy and happy as we as a commission can finally make a timely and tangible difference in our affordable housing today. And I said that words over and over during my campaigning, that we need to make a housing difference today, not 10 years from now. Again, with this housing, this assistance to the affordable housing within our area today, to the tune of 140 plus units. It is amazing. I'm so glad the work was done. Thank you. Thank you. Can't tell you thank you enough. Mark, also with this, I'm elated that we're putting shovel to ground and dollar to that shovel at the same time. And with that, I'd like to make the motion. I move to adopt the Grand County Affordable Housing Loan Policy as presented.
Second by Winfield. Any discussion? I just want to say thank you, Melissa, and the Housing Subcommittee for working on this and getting this taken care of. I think it's going to make a big impact in Grand County. And with that, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Okay, and that passes 6-1 with McGann absent.
Unanimously and then.
Oh, unanimously with one absent.
Absence.
With one absent.
Sorry.
Okay. And next one, Melissa, you just sit right there, so.
Not going anywhere.
Number 15 is our ordinance for grant administration.
Yes, so sub-grants are not new to Grand County. We're used to the process. We do it a lot. We just haven't had a formalized process in place yet. So this is a proposal to put in place a sub-grant funding policy. There are a couple of things that you may want to pay attention to. It's balancing two things. Balancing accountability by making sure that we're not paying out and then not getting a completed project and a report. But there's also a level of sensitivity here for cash flowing projects. And we want to make sure that we have a way to be able to accommodate those as well. So there are some best practices that we're following from other grant programs, especially at the state. Hopefully we'll be able to serve both of those needs simultaneously, and we can make adjustments to that as we learn through the 2026 cycle.
How are we not supposed, how can we vote against you when you've got that smile on your face? Like,
I am so happy to do whatever. Tell me what you want and we will make it up.
Go ahead, sorry.
I move to approve the grant administration policy ordinance as presented.
Okay, so we have first by Winfield and second by McCurdy. Do you have something else to say?
It's still weird that Bill gets to make motions now.
And it's weird that I don't get to.
Yeah, I was like, you just hang out. Yep.
Okay, so any more discussion? Yeah,
Just real quick, just thanks again for putting this policy together. At the beginning of my term last year, this item actually came up. And it was a little bit awkward, coming on in here when we didn't have a policy for these type of requests. So I appreciate it.
Thank you again.
yes, appreciate it, thank you. So go ahead and call for a vote. We had Commissioner Winfield made the motion, McCurdy seconded, accepting the grant administration ordinance. All in favor? Okay, passes unanimously, 6 with 1 absent. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. And moving along to the ordinance for the elected officials' salary. And I think this is being this should be kind of incentive in this.
Yes, this is an ordinance that would simply formalize the current salaries of elected officials for 2026. It's in the pay plan for 26 that was already approved. We just didn't do it formally by ordinance. So that's what this is solving that item.
Go ahead, Commissioner Heather.
And that's required by the state, is that correct?
And to be published in the paper.
And be published in the paper. Awesome. Okay, with that, then I'll make the motion to approve the ordinance as presented, salaries of all county elected officials for 2026.
Okay, Commissioner Heather made the motion.
Oh, you beat me.
When Bill, or McCurdy. That's my last name.
Oh, okay. Take it.
Okay, any other discussion? Call for a vote. Those in favor? Okay, that passes unanimously.
Maybe just a quick note that there were no raises in that.
That's correct.
It's just strictly the same salary as the previous year.
Yeah, that's correct. It's a carryover from 2025 into 2026.
Nothing changed.
Okay. Number 17, commission liaison appointments. And we are going to open up this will be between all of us commissioners. And we're gonna open up the assignment list. We'll just start at the beginning. It's an alphabetical, well, it starts with all of Bill first. We'll just go from there. Does everybody have that document in front of them? Well, okay, so we'll just start with Bill, and if you can go through and select what he wants. If someone else wants to jump in, then go ahead and we can make a vote or discussion on that. So like an airport, Bill, are we good? Airport board?
I'm good with all of the ones that have my name on them.
Okay.
It actually hasn't been updated because Thompson, we switched out and Bill is actually on the Thompson board as well, but it has my name on it.
We'll update. I know Steve knew there was the chamber with.
Okay.
So I'll update them. We'll go change those. So we do have the budget advisory board in there that's got Brian, Trish and Bill. Are all three of you wanting to stay on there? Or anybody else wanting to get on there?
I mean, if I would say if somebody wants to jump on that, I mean, I'm more than willing to hop off. I think it was a great learning opportunity to be there and see how everything kind of operates at the county. I'm more than willing to stay on.
Yeah.
But if somebody else would like to jump on just for that learning experience, I'd offer up my seat.
I would love to.
I would take it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would love to stay on if I can, because
Okay, here it's pulled up too. Oh, yeah, I'd love to take it, Brian, if you, I mean, it's not, it's at the end of the year, so.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think it's a great learning opportunity for anybody who hasn't been on it before.
I wouldn't fight over my seat either. But I'm definitely willing to stay there if somebody else wanted it.
Oh, yeah, so
Okay.
we'll put Bill, Mel and Trish on the budget advisory board. And then we'll move into Brian. So we've got Brian, do you have anything?
Just the
Chamber
Chamber of Commerce right there.
Yeah.
And then, I'd like to stay on the planning and zoning. But we can get to that one when we get to that. I don't think that there's anything additional. No, I'm fine with everything that's on there. Unless
Okay.
anybody has anything they'd like to say.
Jacques.
Yep, all of mine other than the Thompson one that we already talked about, Bill's on that now, and I think that's appropriate. That there is one, the Film Commission Committee, I believe is legacy from quite a few years ago when before the Film Commission even was incorporated into the county. It was back my first year on the commission, it was back in the cities, and that's kind of been defunct. So I don't know if we need to remove that or not.
There's actually a film commission committee that is housed under Virginia Pierce that I sit on.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because
it isn't this one.
It's not this one. No, this one was just it was more of like a liaison to the film commission back. I think it was in the city at the time. So I think it'd be best if we just took that off because I think it's confusing.
Okay.
And then, so are we other ones? I know, I guess I'll bring it up when Melody and I have discussed Sand Flats. I'm not sure where we stand on that, but that's one that I'd be interested in joining if Melody preferred. But whatever, I'm good with everything else that I'm on.
I really enjoy that board, but when I get there, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but I appreciate you. Definitely let us know when there's interested. Anything else? Okay, so Mary has the Canyon Country Partnership, but
Trish was going to take the leadership on that, and I was going to be the substitute. We were just switch places, so there would be continuity after, because next year's the next year.
Okay,
And so there's 2 liaisons to that board.
I'm just sub,
What's that?
I'm sub. She'll call me if she can't make it. And then if I can't make it, we'll just throw it out.
Call somebody else.
Just throw it out. It's, it's kind of interesting. Some of them are hard to get to just because of travel.
are those dates right?
There's only, yeah,
Update the dates?
it's only 4 times a year.
Well, it's
6 times a year, sorry, yeah.
they don't do it during
And there.
during session, so they don't do it. January, February. And then they make that up in April. So they do March, April, and it's every other month.
So there's some dates in there. Do we know if those are correct, or do they give you a schedule ahead of time?
I actually just got an email from Karen today, so it may have had the schedule.
Okay, so you would can get that Dana or ComAdmin, and then they can just update it this year. And any others? So Homeless Coordinating Committee, Solid Waste, USU. Tailings is you and Bill. I think you both have been attending. And then
We've both been attending the
Housing Task Force. Okay. So me, I'm on the Healthcare Board, EMS Board, Sand Flats, Community Renewable Energy Board, Council on Aging, Economic Opportunity Advisory Board, Four Corners, Public Health. And this one that we haven't had any meetings, Transportation Plan Stakeholders Group. Does anybody know anything about that? Since Brian and I have been talking names on it, I don't think
Not sure.
I've had any.
No, but it might be something you want to keep on, just because I do know that the Moab Area Transit is going to be coming to the end of their funding, and it might be something we want to keep. That we keep in the future. That might be a good place to discuss that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also another one that I sit on that UDOT, I'd have to go back and look it up, but it kind of fits underneath this. So there's stuff going on already through UDOT regarding transportation. It's when I get the updates on the bike path out on 128 and a bunch of different stuff. So
Well, I can write your name on it then.
I mean, you're welcome to go is what I'm saying. If somebody else wants to attend those, because it's really, they just come in and give a recap of the project
Yeah.
in our area.
I've sat in it for you when you were in Nepal,
Oh,
that one time.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. I mean, I would really like to be a liaison to the planning and zoning. I think that that there's a lot to learn from that. I know that we have 2 liaisons at the moment, and it's Brian and Trish. Now I'd really like to put my name forward to take that spot from Trish. I know we haven't got to you yet, but I'm just gonna put that out there as a spot. And I've also been requested to be on the CJC as well. And so that would be taking that spot. I think Bill's on there and Trish as well. So those are 2 boards that I would want to put my name on as well. And we talk about those when we get to yours, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Go ahead.
Why would you prefer to take it from Trish instead of Brian? I think Trish has a lot of legacy experience on that board, and she's also I think it's one of those boards that it can be politically contentious. I think it's pretty important to some balance on that, as long as we're gonna have 2 liaisons, that having one from either ideological camp, it would be, I think, pretty just for optics and for reporting and otherwise. I think that's an important balance to maintain.
Do you want me to ask that or go to Trish?
Yeah, you can go to Trish.
Are you? I've watched every single one of them. I mean, I've either been in person or I've watched them, and I do think it's contentious. And I also think that liaison is a person that does make it contentious sometimes. Some of the stuff that comes back from the commission gets portrayed in a negative light. And so when you have votes that come from the commission, and then Commissioner Hedin puts her own light on it, when she comes back to those boards, I think that that creates that contention in there. And so I just would like to, well, one, I'd like to be part of it. I'd like to be part of the planning and zoning and learn a lot more. I think Tricia's done a good job and learning. She has tons and tons of knowledge. But that's just the piece that I think that would, you know, as liaison, we're just there to listen, to bring forth what the commission's will is. And I do think that there's that piece that she's bringing her own will in there.
I mean, I think we all do that to all of our boards. We look at it through our own light, we filter. But again, I think this is one that's especially important to have equal representation from both sides. Again, as long as we're going to have two appointees to that board, and that's kind of what was presented last year when it was presented that Brian should join that as well. And I'd stick with that. And I think that, you know, if you wanted to take Brian's place, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I also think, I mean, no offense, because I've seen you work super hard and you do a great job with all these, but you have quite a few.
You're taking over chair.
Very time intensive boards on your plate. And again, not that I don't think that you can't handle it, but I think that that's, you know, spreading it out a little bit. Some commissioners have had their workload reduced, I think, to points where they prefer to have more.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where if you know, you guys take me off all boards, I mean, I guess, you know, for me, it's cakewalk. I guess I don't have much to do, but that's not my job. And I am an extremely hard worker. And I think I've done very well on those boards. I disagree with you that I mean, I agree with Jacques that I think we probably all have our own perspectives and our own spin, but I think I have always been extremely professional going back and forth between those boards. I do agree with Jacques. I think there should be one from each camp if we want to divide into camps. So if you want to remove somebody and if you and Brian want to flip-flop, I think that's fine. You also need to remember that right now, planning and zoning, there's not a lot of institutional knowledge. And at this point, I have some of the largest institutional knowledge. I've been around in planning for quite a long time. It takes an extremely long time I still am learning every single day. So I'm happy to give you the CJC. But I think if it's really up to you and Brian to decide to remove, if you guys want to exchange positions there. I'd really like to stay on the planning commission. I feel like I am a very strong component of that commission.
Yeah, I understand, and I guess I understand the thought that Brian should be the one to come off, but I disagree with that. I think that there needs to be some calm brought to that board, and I believe that Melody adding to that would help do that. It's not easy sometimes hearing that we might be part of the problem of the situation. I've had that and had to deal with it in my own life. So I think that seeing the value of bringing some calm to that board would be great. And institutional knowledge, I think we're adding institutional knowledge to that board tonight, and including our staff. We have the zoning administrator who has got more institutional knowledge in these matters, far more than what we have on our board, and yet we're also adding some institutional knowledge on our board. So I think we're fine in the institutional knowledge department, and if we need to call for a vote on it, I'm totally fine in calling for that vote.
Go ahead, Mary.
I'm just uncomfortable with what's happening. I've seen it happen over the last 2 years. Prior, when even Curtis was on the commission, there was times that, you know, I can remember the first year he was on, I really wanted to be on the Southeastern Utah. Really, you know, in fact, I'd been going to the meetings and getting trained up to do so. But he really wanted it. And so we kind of went back and forth. And we decided, well, maybe it would be better to have someone, you know, from his background on it. I wanted to be on the airport board. I did not want to let go of the airport board. I have a long history with the airport board from when it was the old airport. My dad was a pilot and it brought, you know, I enjoyed being on it, but I knew Bill wanted to be on it. And it was always this give and take and trust. And knowing that people have different points of view and that was good. But I felt like last year I was castrated or neutered. I was taken off every board I loved. And now you're doing it again. And I don't think it's appropriate or proper. If Trish wants to stay on the board, I think it's okay for her to be on it. And I think it's okay for Brian to be on it. I don't think taking her off because she thinks she's contentious is appropriate or right. And I don't like what's been happening all along. It feels punitive and it's hurtful.
Mike, go ahead. Thank you, Mary.
Doc was first on that one.
Oh, okay.
I'd also, when Bill, when we were voting on the chair, Bill mentioned precedent that had been set in the previous commission where Kevin was elected as the vice chair, and I think Bill pointed to new precedent and took exception to that. Be careful of precedent you set. You set a precedent, and that precedent is potentially going to continue. And I don't like this precedent, but that's what it is.
Go ahead, Mike.
I welcome Commissioner McCandless taking the position. Several of us were in a housing subcommittee meeting just a few days ago where previous commission decisions were yelled at staff.
I didn't yell, Mike. Stop.
Didn't even say your name,
Right.
but thanks for interrupting me.
Yep.
Several of us were there. We can make that call off that knowledge.
Okay. Did you have another comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna defend myself on that. We basically, just so we have a little bit of context, we basically were given a policy, and I do appreciate that Brian did send an email with that policy, but none of that was orchestrated through the housing subcommittee. And so I demanded that we have a meeting with Melissa. I didn't know Melissa had written it, which I greatly appreciate, and with Stephen, and that we go through that policy, but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't ask for it. And so there's the context behind that. And so when I came, I did not yell. I basically just reiterated what I just said to you all, that as a housing subcommittee, we should be working together.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off of that. So I passed off the policy as soon as it came to me to the housing subcommittee. Right? I was as transparent as possible to make sure. When I passed that email off, I received a response from you that even in your email, you had to say, I'm sorry that I'm trying to teach you like a teacher.
No, I said, I'm sorry if we feel like I'm schooling you.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. And I think that I responded very professionally to you. And I said, let's get a meeting together and I tried to take.
So we're gonna
So
start.
I'd like a chance because this is the second time that I've not been able to respond to this. I'd like the story to come out. I set up a meeting with you, with Mr. McCurdy and Mr. Stocks and Melissa Jeffries. When we started off the meeting, you started off by going for 7 minutes. I timed it on my phone before the staff who had worked tirelessly on this, as was directed by the motion in the commission, create a policy for the subcommittee, right? And you questioned the vote. You questioned us not having a meeting and saying that you demanded this meeting. You threatened us that things are going to be different, just as Jacques just threatened us right now on be careful what your precedent is, right? The way that you act sometimes, and this is just my own personal feelings, it is very difficult to work with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm being rage baited and that you're trying to just cause issues, and it does become difficult. And I do believe that Commissioner McCandless will be able to provide some calm and that we will be able to get some things done inside of that committee. So I just want to make sure that you understand how I feel when sometimes that I'm around and that I get lectured for 7 minutes and I was not able to respond inside of that meeting. And it made for a very uncomfortable meeting, especially when we had a staff member who was, if you would have let her speak and kind of tell the story, right, before you went off on the tirade on us, most of your questions would have been answered. So thank you for allowing me that minute to speak.
So we're gonna go ahead and take a break and we've got a few minutes left. So we will go down through Mike's. Mike, do you have any changes to yours?
Future adoption of being
Hatu,
the PASU's and everything's okay. I don't have any contention with anyone if they want to step in, but the fixed future number 19 agenda item is a fixed guideway tax. I put my name as an option into that one. I do have the time to attend, but I am not here to take it above others.
okay. So and then the audit committee is Brian, Jacques, and Bill.
And I've taken over for never mind. I thought Mike was on that previously, so.
Yeah, we already did that.
We already got that.
Yep.
taken care of, so.
Same as.
Yep.
Jean. Yep.
I'd prefer to stay on.
Good with that. And then Trish. So you go to the CJC.
No, you can have it. That's fine.
Okay, I'll take
Because
it.
I've already put a second person on it, you can have it. And I want to say, in the past years, I had the Rec Special Service District. Mike wanted it, I gave it to him. I've always been really gracious about giving up stuff.
And I mean, I'll concede and let you have the planning commission for MLC. I mean, if we come back mid-year, and Brian and I will trade back and forth and I mean,
Okay.
And if you're
That sounds
on,
great.
you can
Because
let me
then if
know.
you want to take it the next year and you have that experience, and that'd be great. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
And then, thank you.
I appreciate that now.
I will, and I got some side looks, sorry, guys, but I'm gonna share. And I think that the point has been made as far as the way that we feel, and I hope that we can have some non-contentious planning and zoning meetings also, so. And then we'll move into our informal committees. We probably do these guys really quick and then we'll have a public hearing. So Spanish Valley Multi-Use Pathway, I feel like this is just really more of an update these days than anything. Is there a committee?
Do you mind if I go back to the sand class again? If you prefer to keep that, especially. Yeah, I'm fine with that, but if you do decide that you have too much on your plate, that's one that I'd like to be a part of, but again, I would totally defer. I'm not gonna, you want to keep that, go for it now.
Well, I brought it up at the meeting that it was the last one, I was gonna give it to you and they kind of all
That's fair.
lamented a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just because I was there. And so, I mean, I'll definitely call you if I'm not able to make it.
Okay.
And you'll be my first backup but I really enjoyed the board. It's nice to have some fun boards,
Sure.
in a mix of things. And I think, with you being on the trail,
Yeah.
you know what's going on.
We get a lot of crossover.
Yeah, I think there's that cross with the trail mix. And so if I was to be taken out of that, then I would have no clue what was going on in the trails. And so that's another piece of why that cross mix.
Sure.
But I will let you know if I can't make it.
Okay.
And I know you wanna, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
I will, if it's okay, I will continue to call everyone if I can't make it. I still love having our representation on
Yeah.
all boards if I can't make it. So, I mean, Commissioner Winfield, Commissioner Hadeen have all filled in for me before, so I'll keep that going too.
Okay, and so we will skip and not do the committees right now, and we're gonna pause. Oh,
One point that I was gonna ask is, do we need to make a motion to continue this for the next year, or is it just kind of a thing where we just decide amongst ourselves and everything's?
I don't think so. It actually says the chair appoints, if we look at our policies and procedures, so we're just kind of going through and talking about it, and I don't think requires a vote.
I think at a minimum, it would be helpful if you guys read through, because we weren't able to track it live. So if you guys, I know you guys.
I tracked it live on Dana's
I am, but the public.
Oh,
doesn't
the
know.
public did. Okay.
So at the end of it, if you guys wanted to either read through or circulate a version of the document and on your, where you've written it, it's the 2025 year, so I'd shift it over. Oh, okay. I just make sure that we have a document, either read through it or circulate a document so that public knows and you all know, because otherwise we have to translate it to Dana, that Dana has to get it back, and however you guys want to do that.
I think this is live with Dana.
Yeah, this is live with Dana and our commissioners.
What we need to do is.
But the public.
Right, and it needs to be
What's that?
put back in, I agree.
Let's see.
However you guys want to do that.
Do you just want me to go through the changes?
Sure, I think that'd be helpful for the public.
Okay,
No.
so the changes from the assignments are the Budget Advisory Board is going to be Bill, Mel, and Trish. There's already been a change from the Chamber of Commerce from Brian DeMelody. The Film Commission Committee is going to be deleted. The Thompson SSD Water Board has already moved from Jacques to Bill earlier this year. County and Country Partnership is Trish from Mary. I think she gave it to her last meeting. Then the Children's Justice Center is moving from Trish to Melody, and Bill's also appointed that board earlier this year. And that is all of them.
So the remainder of the 2025 years is the same.
Consistent.
Yeah, 2025 stays the same.
Okay.
And we will continue this discussion with the informal committees after our public hearing. Go ahead and move to our public hearing.
Citizens be heard first.
Citizens be heard first, okay.
Whatever you want.
Do we have, we'll go ahead with the citizens be heard. If we have anyone in chambers that is not here to speak about the public hearing, we'll take the 6 o'clock citizens be heard. Anyone in the chambers? One on the line that wants to speak at the 6 o'clock citizens to be heard. It's outside of the public hearing. I mean, and technically the public hearing is, has been open for a while. This is a public hearing that I've never really closed. And so you could speak now, but we could also hear the information from our,
You got one person online, but I think it says for Novak agenda item.
okay, so
So I kind of,
Thumbs up.
that's for the public hearing, not for citizens to be heard.
let's go ahead and open the public hearing then. Okay, so we can go ahead and open the public hearing. And our planning and zoning director, Andrew Jackson, is going to discuss the zoning amendment for the Moab Systems, aka Novak, from rural residential to smaller residential and multi-family residential. And this was based upon a vote from the commission, because we just hired Andrew about the same time the vote for this was coming up, that we asked for more information.
The property is located on Moffett Drive, parcel number 02-0035-0007, approximately 30 acres in the rural residential zone. It's currently vacant. Agricultural adjacent zoning is rural residential. They're requesting zone map change or rezone, and I just want to I just try to separate those between the map and the text because they all fall under the zone change in state code. So this is actually a zone map rezone or a change to the zoning map. The planning commission action, planning commission considered the rezone request at a public hearing on June 23rd, 2025, and voted to forward an unfavorable recommendation to the county commission. Background: Moab Sisters LLC, also known as Novak, owns approximately 30-acre parcel. They're seeking to do the zone change, again, from rural residential to multifamily and small lot residential. Planning commission, let's see, motion was made to recommend favorably. That motion failed 5-2. Then the planning commission made a motion for unfavorable recommendation, and that carried 5-2. The county commission held a public hearing on the application on November 18th of 2025. The county commission recommended that the planning director return to the commission on December 16th with a report detailing planning concerns related to the application. This item was not noticed at a public hearing at the December 16th meeting, but it was a continuation of that public hearing, so we moved it to the January 6th meeting today. And he gave the proper notice, identifying the item as a public hearing versus just a public meeting. The applicant has responded to some of the questions, has responded to the items of consideration A through J. Step analysis, so this meets the or complies with the future land use plan map for Spanish Valley. However, there are some things next to the body of the general plan that still need to be figured out, I guess. So the general plan states, this is just the map, but in the text, states that protecting the village edges is necessary. And then a non-plan has various meanings. One meaning is a schematic layout, such as the future land use map of Spanish Valley. A second meaning is a course of action. So plan your hike your plan. In advanced plan making, we aim to both lay out land uses in an orderly manner and prepare a course of action for the county commission to follow to fulfill the plan's vision. There are concerns about possible traffic in the area or increases traffic in the area depending upon the number of units of place within this parcel, as well as there's a will serve letter from Water and Sewer Agency that states that they can serve them, but they need to check out the capacities. Now, both those things are not items to be addressed at a zone change, but will be addressed after a zone change comes in because it could vary in the number of units that somebody wants to put on the property. So because of, and again, this is a continuation of the public hearing that we had previously. Sir, could you speak up?
Yeah, we can't
Sure.
hear you back here.
Okay, I don't know if there are. My kids always make fun of me because I can't yell at them. So I'm not sure how to do that.
We have the microphone.
That'll work.
We go up there.
And stand up.
It'll work if you want to go to the microphone and broadcast it a little better.
Sure. And I don't know at what point I need to.
There you go.
I don't know at what point I need to go back on this, but essentially it's a it was a public hearing, went to the planning commission recommended denial. For the recommendation for denial, went to the county commission. The recommendation was to come back with additional information. And December 16th, that wasn't a public hearing. So this is a public hearing, this is public comment, this is a continuation of the existing public hearing. Not expected to have any action tonight, but it would be placed on a meeting in the future, probably your next meeting, to discuss this. There's been significant public comment on the item, and I've got pages of that that are included in there, and they will be obviously included in at your next meeting.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. So it was commonplace in the past that, yeah, in those packets specifically for rezones, we would have all those comments. And that's somewhat fallen by the wayside, and it's not, but you're saying like when we get that packet next time, we'll have all those public comments that have come since June-ish.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got all those up to today.
That'd be
And
wonderful.
then anything that if you extend the public comment period,
Okay,
then we'd have that.
that's great. Thank you, Andrew.
And if you want anything that's partial, I can do that as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Did we have any updates for the staff report other than that, Andrew?
Yeah, so just essentially looking at it, so because you're a legislative body, you can make decisions that an advisory body cannot. You can also weigh different things, and so there's some discussion about public comment and public clamor. People are allowed to make public comment at meetings, and you can consider that as a in your consideration of approval or denial. You can also look at the planning commission's recommendation. You can look at the staff report. And I'm sorry, I thought that was included in with this one, but it wasn't. So, but essentially, this is just that continuation. There are concerns about traffic. I think that's a valid concern. There's some concerns about other utilities, but again, that's certainly not something that is unchanged.
And maybe to reframe the question a little bit differently, from the last time that the commission had this and from the last time that the public had this, what's changed since that point to this point, and that would kind of help inform the public's comment or thoughts or that? I think that might be something that would be really helpful for the commission.
Great.
As well.
Yeah, great. So probably the biggest thing is going to be traffic and transportation. At possible highest densities allowed within those zones, you could have significant traffic in the area. So that's something that needs to be addressed, but not necessarily at the zone change. But you have to look at that and say, what is the maximum density and how many cars could that be? A typical rule of thumb is 10 cars per day per household. And then, and so we look at the access that's existing, the future access, the right of way. Those things can be solved, but they are concerns. And again, you want to look at the highest density based off of those requested zone change.
And so then that information, that update, that would be included in this, in the staff will upload that to the original agenda item that we have today. That way the public can look at that while we continue to keep the public hearing open.
Okay.
And then also, of course, the applicant's present and then we'd open the public comments.
Yeah, I think Trish had one more question.
Do you mind just saying, just kind of for the general public, so it's feasibly small lot, could you tell the general public what that means? And then feasibly multifamily, tell the general public what.
Sorry.
And then I guess I should also maybe ask for surrounding zoning currently, like what surrounds this property, just so everybody kind of has a clear picture.
That is rural residential. And rural residential is 1 unit per acre. Multifamily residential is up to 8 units per acre. And small lot residential is 5 units per acre.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Correct.
Okay, any other questions? So we do have applicant here. You want to speak at all? Yeah,
Yep,
okay, come on up. Go ahead and use that microphone so they can.
it's only right for me to get to speak. I've heard my name a lot tonight before we get up here. My name is Curtis Wells. I'm representing the landowner. The first thing I want to address is there's a pretty significant error in the public hearing notice in that our application is a request for SLR, not MFR. And I should have required that we start the planning commission hearing over because it was a staff error. The MFR was listed on the application. It was a packed house of neighbors upset about that maximum density. But we have a documented, I mean, if you look at the last agenda item in December when this was up and all previous meetings, our request has been for SLR. And it's particularly concerning because you're driving public clamor by listing MFR on our documents, and that's not our request. So that needs to be fixed, okay? It's not typical for an upzone to create a site plan. Again, I stated on the record multiple times, our site plan our concept plan was created due to the county staff requesting that. It was done under SLR. So all of our documents are for SLR. So any mention of MFR, you need to go back and check the record. The previous planner's aware of that. We have documented evidence of that. So if you need to start this over again, by all means, but I think that's really important. And I think, a couple of things that I keep hearing, and I understand Commissioner Hadeen's opposed to this. When I started this 3 years ago, I never expected to have your support because I know where you're on the issues. Your general plan states the future land use map should be the guiding document when you make zoning amendments. So just like your two actions tonight for those zoning amendments in reference to the future land use map, pretending like those are not correlated it's not factual. And so, just a few points I want to drive home here is this has been one of the most reasonable compromising applications I've ever been involved in. The county gave us the moon in the future land use map and we didn't ask for it. And we've continually stepped back and tried to find something very reasonable. Our concept plan, we did not submit that for public review because the previous planner didn't want to do that because you can't hold us to that. And so we've never come in and said, we're going to develop this plan, but we've asked for SLR all along. And so, I just want to make clear, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, there's been a lot of politics and games with this. I've been doing this for a long time. This has been a very reasonable application. So when the county goes to make a decision on this, I want you to look me in the face and I want you to look all the people in the face that need a house. Now's the time we need to be building housing. Okay, this is a good project. It's a locally rooted project. And if you guys are going to sit up here and you use politics to decide who gets to move forward and develop, I'm going to call you on the carpet. That includes grants for multifamily developments, subdivisions big and small, recusing yourself when it's not necessary to slide out of the hot seat. I've been in your seat, but you've got to be principled. Y'all ran on housing. This is a great project. It should not die to politics. I can understand people that live out in the valley are frustrated. I get it. It's the fringe part of the valley. There's a lot of folks that are holding on to rural residential. This is a very reasonable project. And so if you all are going to play politics with me on this, then okay. Then okay. But that doesn't die if you guys vote this down due to bogus reasons. And I mean that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, there's not a vote. Did you have?
No, I understand that. I just have a question for
I have a
Stephen.
question for Steve.
Okay, go ahead. Let's Trish first. Go ahead, Stephen.
So if there is a major change in evidence, if there was a mistake in the application and the way it was conveyed, my understanding is we do need to start the process over. We'd have to take it all the way back to the planning commission and have a public hearing at the planning commission and start over. So let me know where you're at. Anyways.
I've taken note of that.
Okay.
And Bart and I will look at it. Bart's reviewed this application. So far, it looked like it was ready to proceed. This is something that's been raised tonight. I've taken note of it.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Stephen.
Good.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So just to address the multifamily residential and small lot residential, the applications that are in the system, as well as the letters from the representatives of the owner, list both the multifamily residential and the small lot residential. So I don't have anything new submitted. They've been submitted to somebody else, but I don't have anything that shows that.
And like I said, we'll look into it, and I'm happy for the representative to reach out to us, and on we go. Commissioner McCurdy, do you have a question?
Same.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we can take comments from the public on this. Do we have anyone in the chambers that would like to speak? Come on. Identify yourself and you got 3 minutes.
Dr. Sorensen. I represent myself and my wife, Moab Veterinary Clinic, Azure Creek Ranch, and Red Valley Apartments. I get a little concerned about his comments. Do you have a picture of that plot with you?
Of the property?
Yeah, so I can show him what it means. Even if you're gonna change it to the lesser density, I've got 10 units against my property. That is not a lesser density. So I'm very concerned about that. I mean, if it's gonna be lesser density, let's spread it out. Don't put all your density right on me. Because I've got a lot of problems with that. I've lost 2 calves in the last 2 years. There's people walking their dogs by there. Our cows are calving, the cows go to protect those calves. They spin around, they step on their calf and kill them. So, I mean, if the more people, the more problem I'm gonna have. That's just a basic problem that I see. And go ahead and develop it, keep it, don't change the zone. The property just to the east of there, they wanted zone change, it was voted down. I think the same thing should be done with this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Richard Roots. I agree with the doctor. Don't change the zoning. All the people have spoken, written letters, everything else. Everyone said no. We're not opposed to development. Just don't change the zoning. Thank you.
Come on up.
So my name is Jennifer Wenzel. I'm a good friend of Pearson, passed away, and Patty. I spent a lot of time at their farm, baby sheep, my kids being raised at the same time. It's near and dear to my heart. And so when you sit out there and you enjoy that kind of life and you want to raise your kids with that kind of life, doing field trips at the vet and going and seeing the baby cows and things, it's special. And it's something you don't get everywhere that is magical about Moab. So yeah, I'm going to speak to you from my heart. I just recently talked to Andrew and saw the new map. Shocking. I did not see that anywhere on your website. I'm raising kids. I don't attend your meetings, but seeing the blobs on there was just shocking to me, and it's new. And so it's not on your website, so it's not publicly out there for me. You haven't been going to the meetings. And I do think that if you do need extra housing or zoning, we can figure it out. But I think that was just the first piece of the puzzle. And that you need to develop a land use code that goes along with it and a plan to build the infrastructure and the roads and the sewers and figuring out how the stormwater is going to flow to Pack Creek once you do all this. So I just think there needs to be a little thought put behind it. I'm not saying I'm anti-development. I'm for housing, affordable housing in particular for people who live here. Not as big high up on the second, third homes for people. I more so care about our community. But that map that I'm just was being told is the new.
That's a future land use map of Spanish Valley.
It's the first piece of a puzzle, and we need to build the whole puzzle and then revisit this and see how you're going to build it in a way that works for the community, works for the property owner, and is a good fit. It's the right person in the right seat on the right bus going in the right direction. You have one of those things right now. We need to build the whole plan first, is all my suggestion would be. So I wouldn't say no, I would say not now. It's obviously got a lot of pushback. And I think in time, as you build what you want to see Spanish Valley look like with street names on those blobs and looking at the neighbors and maybe making a rainbow of housing clusters. So you maybe have a little more density in one spot and feather it out towards the cow pastures. I mean, who wants to slap a bunch of houses next to some cow poop? I don't know. So thank you for your time. I appreciate all that you guys do and the time you put in and everybody that showed up to say how they feel.
Thank you. And we're gonna go to a couple, I think we have a couple online comments.
Sure, you got a bunch. Who do you want first?
You pick. I can't see the names from here.
Do Kelly Miller first.
Kelly Miller.
She
You wanna come off mute and talk?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you. I'm happy to speak again. I think this is probably the third or fourth time. The gal that just spoke, very well spoken. I agree with her 100%. I don't know anyone in Spanish Valley that has seen the futures map or heard of the futures map. And there's supposed to be community input. And like she said, it's just a piece of the puzzle. We are trying to protect our rural lifestyle, and I feel it is one of the last rural areas in Spanish Valley, and we just want to keep it that way. We want to raise our kids and our grandkids and have the opportunity to have livestock and poultry and a garden and all the beautiful things that go along with that. I think you've heard from the public. They've written letters, they've emailed, they've attended meetings, they've spoken. You know, and I'm happy to speak again. I think I represent my neighbors. I think they are either at the meeting or on Zoom. Mike and Connie, their daughter Jamie, Mitch and Michelle Peterson. I know I represent Dave and Janice Dysert, Craig and Vernie Klesch, who are also, all those folks are actually adjacent landowners, and we all desire for the county commissioners to protect our rural residential zoning. And I appreciate you and all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the next one,
Lee Singleton.
Lee Singleton.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. So thank you so much. My name is Lee Singleton. I have lived in Spanish Valley for about 16 years now. I also want to welcome Mr. Jackson aboard. I'm a little bit confused about Mr. Wells' statement that they're not seeking MFR, but we'll see how that shakes out. I did notice that there was not a copy of the proposed ordinance attached to the agenda. So you could go get off of work and go into town and get a copy of it, but I didn't have time to do that today. So again, that was disappointing. I'm not going to go through each and every one of my objections because, as y'all know, I've written several letters since the summer of 2025, and I've attended multiple meetings and expressed those objections. So they're already of the record, and I would stand by them and just reiterate the objections I've already made and refer you back to my previous correspondence. I do have a concern regarding transparency. I had made a GRAMA request, I believe it was in November of this year, requesting all of the documents related to the future land use map. I was wanting to understand better if notice had been provided, if there was an agenda related to this, what public comments were received, because so many of my neighbors were completely unaware of this. And I never got a response pursuant to my GRAMA request. And so, again, I want to thank you for your time, and my objections are of the record, and I thank you for considering them. That's it.
Thank you, Lee. Our attorney has a comment.
And Lee, if you'd like to send a copy of that GRAMA request, I can make sure that the clerk auditor follows up with you promptly on your GRAMA request.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Emily Campbell.
Emily Campbell.
Hey, folks. Good evening. I spoke, I guess at this point, it was a little over a month ago at your last meeting, considering this with some concerns around traffic on Stocks Drive, especially where it intersects 191. And after that meeting, I did a little bit of digging on this issue. And I'm actually not here to speak for or against. I just want to share what I learned, because I think in the next week and a half, as your public hearing is reopened, diving into some of these details may be useful as you're all considering how this actually would play out on the ground. And I'll just say, I live in the area. I've advocated publicly for placing housing in open space near my home. So I don't think this is a political issue. I think it's about looking at the general plan as a whole, where the future land use map is one part of this, but we also need to consider transportation. We need to consider planning in the different zones within our county. And while this may be an area represented as a potential for higher density on the map, I'm actually not sure that this particular property makes sense, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the record here is confusing. When this came before the Planning Commission, the easement road, or the access road, was listed as Chapman Lane, which is actually on the other side of Spanish Valley Drive. So right off the bat, the only way to access this property is through Moffett Lane, and it appears that the county has that designated as a private driveway and not even as a county road. So I would look into that and whether it actually even has road status. If it doesn't, it's going to require significant infrastructure updates, which that alone isn't reason enough to deny, but just consider that that's going to change the margins of this property and likely dictate its usage by quite a bit. This also doesn't have an access from Stocks Drive. I went down to the recorder's office. I spent over an hour there, and then I also talked to the two landowners to the west, both of whom have access to their titles, and neither of whom have a recorded easement to Stocks Drive. That means the only way to access this property is from Moffett Lane, not Spanish Valley Drive, but Moffett Lane. And the International Fire Code has pretty strict standards around having separate points of egress and ingress for these types of developments at any scale near this, let alone the full build out. It's not even clear that this would be legally allowed, or if it was, it would likely require millions of dollars of road improvements. And again, that would eat directly into the margins. Also in the draft site plan that the applicant had in their last packet, which again, they're not beholden to, in addition to noting Stocks Drive incorrectly, they also failed to note that a large part of the bottom of this property actually has a historic usage as a driveway to the two properties to the south, and that's the only access to that. And Utah does honor these, I can't remember what they're called. They're private easements, essentially, if they've been used for over 20 years. So consider that a large part of the developable land likely also would go to the road easement to the south. At 10 cars per day per household as an estimate, at the full potential build out at this density, you're looking at upwards of 3,000 average daily trips. That's because in Utah, every single home has an entitlement to an ADU in the background, and that does have to be considered for road access. And even if it was half of that, that would increase Moffett Lane from a private driveway that isn't even a county road to likely a local type 1 collector, which requires significant width. So again, eats into the margins, but also eats into additional cost to the public taxpayer to have a new road to maintain. And it would likely have to be very, very, very long if it was the only point of ingress and egress, again, because of the fire code. So all of things to consider. Maybe this is an okay place to have increased density. I know I'm at time, so I'm just going to wrap up here. I just think there's more details to look into that are not in the public record and would encourage you all to do a little digging before you make a final decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam Cunningham.
Sam Cunningham.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay, great. We moved into our area, which is right next to Dr. Sorensen, in the early 1980s. At that time, the only use of Spanish Valley Drive right there was mostly the people that had cabins up on the mountain, or maybe some tourists, the odd tourists that had heard about this. This was before we were a tourist mecca. Very little. In fact, I worked the night shift at the hospital at that time, and I was often the only car on the road coming home. All right, after that, we said we wanted to be a tourist center. That's great. So what did I have? I had ATVs all the time, up and down, a lot of noise, potential for children being out on the road because those people were not going the speed limit at all. And so, as Dr. Sorensen said, there's the opportunity for some really bad accidents there. But okay, we handled that. We passed that. We kind of mitigated that, if you will. But if you have, even if it goes down from the multifamily to a lower designation, you've got a lot of people that are potential wage earner. They have to be somewhere at a certain time. They're going to be late someday because breakfast didn't work out or some such thing. They're going to be speeding on that road. Okay, what are the hazards of somebody besides all the people recreating on there, beside all the locals that have to go to the grocery store? What are going to be the hazards? The hazards are going to be perhaps Dr. Sorensen's cows have gotten through the fence and one of them is out there. Do you know the damage that one cow can do? It can be a killing instrument to a car that's going down that road. How about horses? There's a lot of recreational horses on that road. This is a rural area. There are many things. Okay, how about poultry on the road because sometimes it's hard to keep those down. All right, there's all those things that could happen. What about the hazards to the people that already live there that just want to go to the store and suddenly they found so much traffic that they're backed up? There's a serious issue there. You've heard from Emily. There's a serious issue already just looking at the legality and the cost of making an access road that even goes to a smaller designation of the property there. So I'm telling you again, just like everybody else is telling you, this bodes more looking at, because it's not as simple as Curtis would tell us, a simple designation. That I believe the transportation has not been looked at seriously. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Sam.
Someone called JMR.
JMR? Did you want to speak?
Hi, Jared Richards, 4710 Zimmerman, neighbors with Patty on the other side of this project. I'll just echo briefly a lot of the sentiments here. It's rural residential. If the county chooses to create a master plan in the future and this zone changes then, so be it. I'm not one to make zoning changes before a master plan. That's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got someone called Mallory.
Mallory? Do you want to speak in the public hearing, Mallory?
Sorry. No, I'm just here to listen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Then we've got Travis Erickson. He's been here the whole time. I'm not sure.
He's for the later discussion.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
That's everybody online.
Yeah, if you're online, use your hand raise and we'll go back to the chambers. Or if you're online and you want to speak, use your little hand and we'll get back to you. Anybody else in the chamber want to speak? Oh, come on up.
Hi, I'm Connie Pacheco-Beer, and my husband Michael and I, and all the neighbors that Kelly has listed off have the same sentiments. They have not changed. We want to reiterate, and Doc Sorensen too, and Patty, and the young lady there. Yes, with Mr. Guyman, and thank you. They're great comments, and we all have the same sentiments, and just be able to zone within what's already there would be awesome, and so I'm reiterating that to keep the collective voice of the people heard. That would be amazing that somewhere in the country the process is actually processed correctly. But anyway, and justly. So I would like to show you guys this. Understanding that it's a picture of the sign that was posted for meetings and whatnot that have RR to SLR and MFR. And my understanding is
The county creates those
the
signs.
county does not you.
We post
So
them.
that's what you were talking about that I was gonna say.
Yeah,
The
and
MFR.
and essentially what the staff initially said, we'll have an SLR and an MFR application because they both fit within the land use map. They came back to us and said MFR doesn't seem palatable. Do you want to move forward with SLR? We said yes. The documents kept MFR in, and so that's filled out by the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. I think we have, go ahead. Come on up.
My name's Michael Beer and I live at 4620 Moffett Lane. Haven't been there long. Connie and I got married a couple of years ago. But this idea that there's a lot of public clamor and that there wouldn't be if it was just an SLR. I'd just like to find out right now, by the raise of hands, how many people here are still going to be publicly clamoring if there's an SLR. In other words, if there's 5 units instead of 8. I don't think anyone wants this. And I don't think it's right for aggressive people to disrespect their neighbors that way. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, I think I saw one more hand in the back. Yep. Patty.
Patty Robinson. I'm not opposed to some development. However, this density that we're applying for is going to require a significant investment in upgrading roads, which essentially probably inflate the land cost and destroy the profit margins unless they jack the price up. So I think the responsible way of managing the goal of building this housing should be to have a property that they want, well, a property they want to have a, oh, I'm stumbling along. I hate public speaking. This commission hasn't approved an upzone zone without a master plan on file with a competent developer who can deliver on what they promise. And on a personal note, if they tried to put Stocks Drive through, it'd be destroying my retirement property values. Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone else in the chambers that wants to speak? And do we have anyone else online? Put their hands up. Okay. So this public hearing is going to be open until next Wednesday, the 14th at 5 p.m. for written comment. You can send that to Grand County Commission, or actually it's commission@grandcounty.gov. And next meeting on January 20th will be the vote on this. All right, thank you all for coming. We're gonna move along. We're gonna go back to our liaison, commission liaison appointments. We actually finished number 17, I believe. I'm gonna move on to 18, which is the commission subcommittee appointment. Go back to our subcommittees. And we were talking about
that one for the.
oh yeah, the committees, the informal committees are the same.
Last tab on that document that Dana shared with us.
And just one note on the other one. No questions. So it's on 18. I did add the Mott Area Community Land Trust. I also got appointed to liaison for that. And I did add that to the list as well, just so you guys have notes.
The other one I was just remembered, Mel, I don't know if this would qualify as the liaison to the Echoes Canyon.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should have put that one on there too. Thank you.
That's the Kingsbury development.
Yeah,
That was that was the previous board. It was it was one that
Needs to be on the main. It's not a subcommittee, right?
that'd be the main.
I mean,
Yeah. Or media science.
okay, so our subcommittees, so I was, the first one, I was wondering if that is actually a subcommittee still, or if it's more just updating the commission.
It's really just been Mr.
Yates coming in lately. We haven't had a meeting in a long time, Jacques. I don't mind having a meeting about it, but I don't think there's anything new.
No, I don't think there's anything new. I do think that it's important to keep that going. It does, and I think it'd be nice to get something soon, but as we move through the phases, for example, I think we're at the point where we've gotten a subcontractor to talk to the property owners and try to procure all the easements right away along the way. As we move into the actual construction, I think it'd be nice to have a little bit more hands-on approach to that. And so I personally think it'd be nice to keep that one going.
Go ahead and leave it. Okay, and
Chairman,
yes,
I spoke about this with staff this morning, and I'd like to have a meeting in probably the next couple of weeks. There's a few updates that I would like to share. And then as we get closer to property acquisition, I think that group should meet more often. So
that'd be great.
I agree. And I'd like to get Andrew in on it as well as our planning and director. So.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Maybe we can change obviously Bill Jackson's no longer here, so put Cody.
Cody, I spoke with Cody about that,
right? Yeah. And Sean, of course, instead of Dan.
Yeah.
okay, and then so the legislation committee, that's Melody, Bill, and Jacques, and I would like to stay on that.
I feel like that's a good committee. I'd like to stay on that as well.
And we have Stephen Stocks and Mark Tyner from that as well, and Cody Stewart.
Yeah.
And flooding mitigation, that's currently Trish, Bill, and Melody. Happy to stay on that board. Everybody else good? Anybody want to change that? Okay. The tax split EMS, Grand County Sheriff's Office, that one is pretty much been completed this year with the Prop 13. We are going to be adding the fixed gateway to this list, but we'll just delete this one and move forward. Does that sound good with everybody? The housing subcommittee, Trish, Brian, and Mike.
I'd like to remain.
Like stay on.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna let you stay on planning and zoning, but I'm gonna take the housing subcommittee. I'm gonna hop on that one there, Trish.
So this side of the aisle, I guess, is not gonna have any representation in the subcommittee.
Do you wanna, if you wanna replace me, that's fine. Do you wanna put either Jacques or Mary on there? I think that is a good idea, to have a semblance of some balance. And it still won't be balanced, be 2 to 1, but I think it would be a good idea to put either Jacques or Mary on there. And Mary's on the housing task force. I don't know.
I think Mary would be great.
Mary?
I'm fine with, yeah, fine with whatever.
Mike? Mary? Stick Mary on there?
Should we ask Mary at least?
Sure. I was like,
I don't know if she
It'd be proper to at least ask Mary first.
She was.
Signed her board.
Yeah. I think she was very interested in trying to be on more boards because she's been feeling like she's been removed.
But to your point, Brian, absolutely ask her, but I think maybe we can put a placeholder there. And, yeah.
I put Mary question mark. We'll reach out to Mary.
So Mary and which other two?
And Brian and Mike.
Okay.
And the organizational structures facility, did you guys meet it all this year? I'm not that we
met once and that was it. I think it would actually be nice to meet again. I don't know, do you guys feel like we should convene that more often? And I would still appreciate being a part of that conversation if that conversation is there to be had, but again, it's I can go either way.
I almost see that it and the review of policies and procedures could either be combined or we need to do something with the review of policy. I'm open.
I would like to recommend that we move the review of policies and procedures to comm admin. And I mean, Dana even brought it up at admin review agenda review the other day about working on that. And I think if they go through it and redline it and put in some suggestions, and then it would come back before all of us, and that we're not having a subcommittee. And so comm admin would review, redline, take it to attorney, and then come to us.
I defer to Stephen a little bit on this. I know his office was driving this a little bit. And,
I'm happy to be wherever you guys want me to be. I do think there are some things that I would like to see. I don't know if the commissioners would like some of the suggestions that I have, because they would have the final review of it. I'm happy to work with comm admin. If you guys want comm admin to do it first and then me to do it second, I have enough work.
Okay,
as
great.
is.
No, I hear you.
So-
Thanks. I just wanted to hear.
Getting back to the organizational structure and facilities though.
Okay, yeah, we'll go back to that one.
Yeah, just real quick, I think it would be helpful to do that, maybe biannually. You know, just maybe in the first half of the year, and then maybe after, if there's been any amendments in the budget, just as things kind of shift around.
That makes sense to me, Brian.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we only had one meeting.
Yeah, so we just keep 2 meetings a year and just,
Yeah, no, it didn't need to happen all the time for sure.
that would be fine.
So leaving Bill, Brian and Jacques on that one.
Yeah,
sure.
And
I'm fine with it unless
you
somebody.
guys are gonna try to meet. I mean, I would have a question about, so organizational structure. I know that we have a document that was done that kind of just says that we're a flatline structure. Is that what this would be looking at, organizing that
Yeah,
structure? Cause that's facilities in there too. And I know with the next Guideway, we're gonna be discussing facilities, but it would be,
No, it's part of the conversation. Absolutely. I think it is. I mean, if we do go ahead and do that, then we're gonna have a lot of conversations about facilities going forward.
yeah, facilities as well.
Yeah.
And what about, when we talked about like an organizational review as far as like staff and how much staff we have, would we want to fit that, Mark, in that conversation as well? The organizational, what are we calling it?
that feels like it still fits in with the audit.
Yeah, the audit thing.
Yeah, we talked to Julian about that and he said that
I agree.
that kind of fits right underneath that purview.
Okay, that's fine. All right, the Economic Development and Travel Council, that's removed because we took care of that at the beginning of the year. And then to the reviewing of the policies and procedures, we would remove that and move it to comm admin for review, and then the attorney.
Come admin with the county attorney's office.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna just remove the committee. And then
On that
Go ahead.
one, while we were thinking about it, when do you guys want to see? I know we were aspirational last year and we didn't, there wasn't the movement on it. When would you guys want to see this from comm admin, from the comm admin in the attorney's office for you guys to have? Is there a deadline that you guys want to? Order?
I mean,
Maybe end of the.
Okay,
I would think it's gonna take a quarter.
maybe put it on the first
Otherwise it'll burden staff.
meeting in March.
or by the end of this second quarter. At the
So
latest.
maybe
So
Or a review.
meeting in April.
be at the first meeting in April.
That's, I think, I mean, we're talking about more of a overhaul. You're right, Stephen.
Yeah, and we need to go through and replace a lot of the operating policies and procedures still refer to a council form of government. There needs to be cleanup on how it communicates with comm admin's office and what's that guidance there. Some of the things to the changes on how meetings are structured in the way of, how many citizens to be heard, meetings do we have, and kind of streamlining some of that process. There's some references to some outdated things in there. There's a lot. I think if it's something that the commission would like to pass this year, then probably you'd want the start of it at the first meeting in March to be able to have an update. If it's something that you're looking at, maybe passing Q1 of next year, then maybe you don't get involved until the summer. But it's your guys's, I'm happy to move as quickly on it as you guys like, but it's not my decision on it. It's
Quinn and Mark, do you guys feel like first meeting in March, second meeting in March gives you enough time to kind of get a preliminary draft or whatever together, at least have a conversation?
Yeah,
And
around there.
and even if it's not a preliminary draft, even just an update.
Right.
So that if the direction needs to change a little bit, in March, we can say, hey, we think that we need to switch and pivot a little bit and start moving in this direction. That would be a good idea.
Maybe if we did a
workshop
30 minutes prior to a commission meeting, the end of March. For the 1st of April, we'll look at our schedule, see where it all fits in there. Even for that, I know Dana's already started working on it. She started taking the council word out and putting commission where it belongs, but there's still some of the commission stays in there because there was things before when it wasn't council, so.
And there's tons of other little things, like the other thing that we ran into was onboarding new commissioners. We're talking about getting out emails for people that are elected between that March through the January period, talking about how we have onboarding, like Salt Lake County and reviewing their policy. They have a whole line out about what you do once somebody's elected, what the onboarding experience is like, how they get set up with HR. Because in the past, what we've defaulted to is we can't do anything until they're sworn in. And so you'll have commissioners that should be watching the November, December meetings to get up to date with the budget, policies and procedures, and get all that training. And we really don't have a process on it. There are also some other nuances like limitations on travel and trainings and things after, or if you don't run for office after a certain period of time. There are a lot of things that I can put in there. I see other places that do it, that I kind of am, I'm like, oh, that's neat, that's interesting. And we've run into some of them, but the bigger counties have really gone through and experienced a lot of things and had friction points and had solutions where we haven't had as many of those, that experience yet. And we start to see it, on our bylaws when we have like the P and Z bylaws versus the Council on Aging. Like their bylaws are changing and have different movement and progress. So sure, I'll put a bunch of stuff in there with the help of ComAdmin, and you guys can just delete it all or whatever you guys want to do. But where I can see things that would be needed to change, do that, work on it. Okay. And the first meeting, if you guys are, that is not the direction we want to go, then we can change.
That sounds great.
Okay. And we'll just update the fixed skyways tax. Well, we're gonna do that right now anyways. Do we have anything else that needs to be added to subcommittees? Anybody else have anything that?
There was one, and I can't remember the context in which you guys were talking about it. You guys had raised the issue in the middle. Did we already handle that one? There was one that was raised
The
in.
Motorized Trail Committee?
It was with Commissioner Hadler and Commissioner Melody at our meeting, either last meeting or the meeting before, about a subcommittee. Maybe I'm crazy.
We do have.
It was the fixed guideway when we were talking about going forward with that.
Yeah, and we're gonna.
But the
Right.
Motorized Trail, we
We'll hash that out.
we accomplished what we were.
So it's not in there. Yeah, and we had the subcommittee for the trail ambassadors this year, but we've already completed that as well. So these are ongoing, at least for 2026. So the fixed guideway. So if anybody doesn't have any more subcommittee ideas, then we're gonna move on to.
Economic Development and Travel Council, did that stay the same?
We deleted that one. So Economic Development, Travel Council is deleted.
Okay.
The tax split EMS, Sheriff's Office is deleted.
Okay.
And then the Spanish Valley multi-use pathway is the same, legislation stays the same, the flooding stays the same. We're gonna ask Mary if she'd like to be on the housing committee with Brian and Mike. The organizational structures facility stays the same. And review of the policies and procedures is removing the committee and moving that to ComAdmin, then attorney review.
Okay.
And I'll put also in the notes that we'd like end of March. Dana can see all this.
And then did you folks go back and add the Echo Canyon as a defined, okay.
Echo Canyon and the Moab and then Mackles, I added to the committees. Anybody else have any committees that I got added this year? Okay. All right, to the fixed skyway tax. So I have just so we have something in place that structures the subcommittee, because I know we've had a lot of talk about subcommittee structure this year. And this is something that doesn't have to be set in stone, but just kind of idea of what we're going to try to accomplish for this fixed skyway tax subcommittee plan. At the end of the document has the immediate next steps, which is commission chair designates 3 commissioners to the subcommittee.
Hey, Melody, I noticed Jameson was out in the hallway and I think he was probably here for this item if we want to invite him in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, sorry to interrupt.
He's here. And then also Travis Erickson's online as well. He's with the 7th District Court. And so he's here because he's interested in the new courthouse.
Yep, awesome.
And I think he'll be one of the people that, or him or someone that he would put in that place.
Cool, great.
Well,
you want to come up front, Jameson? Yeah.
I don't know if you were able to, if you reviewed the document that we put in the packet. It's kind of a fast track to this, and it would basically be the core subcommittee would be the 3 commissioners, and then those 3 commissioners would be, they would add in like rotating. So of course you or someone from your department would be there for information. We'd have Marcus Keller. You'd mentioned Travis Erickson from the courts. I think that someone from the building community would be someone that we would want to bring in and all these pieces and parts. You'd have the main subcommittee of the 3 commissioners, and then everyone would move in there. So we'd have development, construction, architect and design, law enforcement, and then the county attorney, and of course, admin would be involved with this. It was a discussion to have the city involved as well, but I don't necessarily know if the way that it's kind of set up with what we're looking at, if we would have the city. I think that there might be other conversations we would have with the city on some other ideas with public safety, but do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would invite the city because the idea is to put city police, we're not combining services anytime soon. They want to be their own department. So if they want to be their own department, it still would want them in the public safety building. UHPs, you know, they want to move out of the courthouse currently, but they've made it very well clear. You get a public safety building. I don't know necessarily if they need to be at the table. But I think for sure the city courts said they want to do courts. I mean, the county attorney's office, somebody from there should be there because they're going to be involved in that process as well. That's about it.
Okay.
I had a question real quick.
Yeah.
I was originally under I thought that we were talking about having this being a task force. Was there a reason that we chose to go with a subcommittee rather than a task force for this? And the main difference being, are we going to invite the city in on this, or are we going to have private citizens that would be available in this?
Well, if we want to make a decision on this before we get into budget season, I think that most focused people on it are going to be the best. And when we add in just, I mean, one, how do we pick that private citizen? We can't even pick planning and zoning people with the, you know, and fast. And so I think it'd be really hard to pick what private citizens do we just add to this board. And so keeping it as a subcommittee where those commissioners kind of have control of the subcommittee, and then asking for, and so if there's private citizens that they want to invite in that have pertinent information to what they're talking about for that particular agenda, I think is absolutely acceptable. Not having them on the committee thinking that they're like making the decision.
So I'm just trying to, so the structure is basically you'll have 3 commissioners, and then they will basically invite in the subject matter experts that they want for the discussion that they're going to be having that day.
Exactly.
Okay.
But everyone that's been invited to it will get the minutes for all of it so that they are kept in the loop, or if they're asked to come back in to it, then they have that information. So so the 3 commissioners so far that I've had reach out, I mean, I would like to be on it, but I don't have to be. Mike has definitely expressed interest. Shaw.
I'm very interested.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion that we start off with Commissioners McCandless, McCurdy, and Hadler to start the process moving, and then kind of, I think I'm with Brian a little bit on having some of the public out. You know, if we don't involve the public in this, why you're not going to get the support. So I think we've got to have a little bit of that in the task force sort of a drive here in my mind. But that's my motion, that those 3.
Go
ahead.
Was this an action item with the motion, or was it more of a, it was? Oh.
The action item, it is. So we need a second to discuss it.
Yeah.
I guess one discussion you still have in, you know, I think.
Oh, sorry, we need a second to discuss it, or else.
It can fail if nobody wants to second it.
Okay, so we have a first and second, so go ahead, Trish. Okay. Yeah.
I was good, yeah.
I think they should be commissioners that are really wanting to move this ball forward and believe in it. That's all I'm going to say. But, you know, I have supported this. I unfortunately was not at the meeting where we voted because I knew it wasn't going to pass, and I was indisposed. I was so sick that I literally sitting up in bed wasn't an option. But I really want it to be commissioners that are supportive of the idea and want to move it forward. That's all I'm going to say. And I think that I'm one of those, and I think I work well with the sheriff's department. I'm intimately involved. I'm in the jails all the time. You know, so I'll just state that I think I'm a good candidate for the job. And I don't have many other jobs.
I'd be willing to give up my spot to Trish, but I would definitely like to be involved. I'd like to be kept in the loop. And if Mike or Trish or yourself couldn't make it, I'd be very happy to substitute in, and I'd love to get the minutes also and be involved in that sense.
Do you want to make a substitute motion?
No, I'd like to make some comment. I disagree with Commissioner Hadeen that it should be people that want to drive this forward. I honestly think the opposite. If you're going to get the support of it, then I think you need to work. We need to have these other commissioners involved. That was kind of the point of my motion, was if there's going to get support, we've got to get it from the side that is somewhat that, and that's just an opinion, you know, not against you. I'm saying that this needs support in order for it to move through, and that was my only reason. So I'm not going to make a substitute. If somebody else wants to, they're welcome to.
So I have a clarifying, it's always great to have the identified goal of what this is doing. Is this getting the tax? Is this looking at building it? And for me, and I, you know, when this was brought up, I kind of said, oh, great, we'll build this in 8 years. This is one of the things that the public safety building, we need. If we want to get this done, we got to move on it. And so looking at, I don't know exactly what the goal of this subcommittee is. Is it just focused on the issue of having the tax or not? Is it saying we're going to build the plans and look at the plans about that? And I know Quinn's been here long enough to know and see all the plans and the back and forths and whether it's going to go or not. So I think that would be really important to kind of narrow the scope to begin with.
Yeah, page 4.
Okay. So that's just my.
Yeah, page 4 talks about the framework. So we've got, you know, currently we have critical repairs and improvements that we need to discuss. We have existing debt service, you know, and then new public safety complex bonds. So I think this is about if we're going to implement the fixed guideway tax, and of course that's going to vary on the state legislature and what they do with this. So we're gonna have to watch it really closely during legislation session. And then after that, then we're going to have to find a site. You know, there's a lot of work to get done really fast if we want to implement this tax. I mean, I guess the tax, it's to make a plan if we're going to ask for the tax. And then we're gonna ask, if we have a plan, we can either go to the voters, you know, and that's gonna be the part 2. Do we go to the voters and ask for the tax, or do we implement it ourselves? I think that those are all gonna be the pieces that we're working through to so it does have the key decisions for the subcommittee on that, page 4 and 5, vision and scope, site selection, financial structure, implementation. And I think everyone here can read it. I know it just got in the packet today, and it's not like, this isn't set in stone, but this gives us a really concrete thing to move through. And I know we have Travis online, and I don't know if he has any comments. If you'd like to speak, Travis.
He's muted.
Thank you. And I appreciate the commission inviting me tonight and the opportunity just to share a little bit. I have been part of a handful of these discussions throughout the state in the last 10 or 13 years, where I've been with the courts and been part of a handful of these projects. It is great to have lots of people involved, and I do appreciate the comment that, you know, obviously it's important for us to know kind of what the commission hopes to achieve. I had some introductory discussion with my administrative office about such a project in preparation for tonight's meeting, and at least at present, you know, that's very, funding from the courts is very dependent upon legislative allocations and availability in that way, and so typically it's a very slow process for the courts, and so some of the projects I've been part of, including the San Juan County project that's kind of underway right now and preparing for groundbreaking, they're entirely funded through opportunities within the county, and the courts basically provides, you know, any guidance and information that we can provide, and then attends essentially as a lessee. I do want to just mention that our partnership in our current location has just been exemplary. And in my experience working in several counties throughout the entire state, has just been honestly my best over the last decade. And so I just really appreciate that partnership with this county. So thank you very much.
Anybody else have any other thoughts or?
If we go forward with Bill's recommendation on the three of us being on the committee, would we have an opportunity? Obviously, there's times where not all three of us could make it, but would another commissioner have the opportunity to sit in on those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just looking at the timeline, is that timeline, does that work for you, Jameson? I mean, if this has to go out to a vote, would July 21st be early enough to get a campaign out for something like this and put something together?
Yeah.
And then is the meeting twice a week, is that going to be?
That'll be okay.
Yeah, you guys saw that as well. It's twice a week for 90 minutes.
No, bi-weekly is
every other week.
Oh, is it bi-weekly?
Yeah, every other week for 90 minutes.
Okay.
Approximately, depending on how much we, yeah.
That scared somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was just,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
With that scheduling, several of us are headed up to legislature sooner than later. I say we have a meeting ASAP.
Well, that, and you would definitely want to work with the legislation about not changing this tax, because then it's all down.
Yeah. So our next steps was schedule a meeting for the first week of January 13th, the week of January 13th, which is next week. So we'd start a meeting next week, but we can discuss that offline after we figure out. We don't need to be having it during the.
I want to clarify too, Melody's remarks about a campaign, because I think she's saying that if this goes before the voters, that gives you time from July until the vote. If that's the decision of this subcommittee, then does that give you time to try and push a campaign to the voters? I think that's what you meant. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think somebody else asked that. He asked that, but.
Okay.
And I'll hazard a question, and it might not be exceptionally popular. So we're going to invest quite a bit of money and resources in considering whether the county council wants to approve this. And we're gonna make that decision all the way until July 21st and have the commission vote on it at that point. Is that correct, or have I misunderstood that?
We're gonna have we want to try to have some direction by July, because that is going to affect if this is something that we're gonna do. So either the commission is gonna decide to vote this in if it's still, or they're gonna choose to send it to the voters.
Normally, when we're looking at referendums or laws that are passed by the state, they're effective usually in that same time period. And I'm looking at Commissioner Winfield. When most of the effective dates are going to be about July 1st.
So you mean if the legislation changes?
Yes.
Right, that's a good point.
And so just noting that there'd be a good chunk of work and time and dedication to whether the commission wants to get that would be the 6 month part, every 6 month mark. I'm just noting that. I don't have.
No, it's a very good point. Yeah, our sleeves.
Yeah, but we would know if they were gonna change if there's gonna be a change that started July 1st.
We could fast track it. We'd know it by the
2 months.
middle of March.
So that
I don't
could
anticipate that even making it to July. I think this committee's gonna know in the next couple of months what are going to be.
I mean, we have a site visit included to go to Iron County and look at it, or maybe San Juan would just be the site visit to visit, and that could be something that you could help in that direction.
Iron County would be what I would recommend, because once we created this, and they ran into this issue of it being shot down, why they had to create this, so.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. So we have a vote. We have a motion from Commissioner Winfield and a second by Commissioner McCurdy on the creation of the task force with Commissioner McCandless, Commissioner McCurdy, and Commissioner Hadler. So those in favor? And those opposed? Okay, so that passes 5-1 with Commissioner Hadeen in opposition and Commissioner McGann absent. I think that it concludes. We are not going to go over our general reports. They are available online.
Do you have any future considerations?
Do we have any future considerations?
Yeah, I got one. I'm trying to work on a presentation for the next meeting for an update on the Colorado River interim guidelines. There's going to be a meeting in next week in Salt Lake City, all 7 of the commissioners. And so hopefully we can get some updates on what's going to be happening, because we are quickly approaching the February deadline. It's probably one of the most pressing issues, I think, in the Southwest right now.
When you say commissioners, just for the public, we're talking the commissioners that are working on the compact.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Mhm. Colorado River Authority Commissioners. So.
And again, I'm just raising this issue. So the county a long time ago passed resolution 2799. There is a policy on travel that is established. It was passed by the county. I know a lot of folks pointed out and said we don't have a policy. We do have a policy. Mark provided it to me. It exists. It's there. I think it's what normally happens when folks travel. It's what I have to do when I travel. So I don't know if that's something that we want to refresh. It has mileage that's pretty old. It's dated. It's signed from 2007 by Jim Lewis and Diane Carroll were there back then. So
There's another one from 14.
there is another one from 14. Okay, so we have multiple ones. So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to do, but there is a number of public that are pointing to that and said it doesn't exist. It is there, whether we want to, dust it off and bring it back up. I don't know.
That is something that I was, if you guys are okay with me working with admin, I do think it'd be worth dusting off and just making sure that it's all updated. And I know one of the comments was like, oh, in the form, there's not enough room for me to tell people what I'm doing. And so I think there's some basic tweaks would satisfy people's concerns. So if you all are okay with me working with admin to do that.
Not alone, I'm not okay with that. I would think that we need somebody from the other side clearly. This is a
like 2 people.
Political, yes.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Sure.
And again, I do think that the county does have a form that
Right.
is more up to date than what this is. So
I'm fine with that. If anybody wants to work on it with me, I'd be happy.
it'd be a future consideration, so you guys can, well, actually, magic, you guys have subcommittees and boards and all that, so you guys can go back and add one more subcommittee, the travel policy subcommittee. You guys want to do that or next time, up to you guys.
We can throw it on there. Let's put it on there.
Okay.
Might as well. Travel Policy Subcommittee. It won't take very long.
No, it would be.
And really, it's not like we have to even meet. We can share it via Google document.
Yep.
And I'm happy to be on that with you.
Now
Never mind. I'm busy. I'm busy. I don't have much television.
You're gonna have to become a Martha Stewart where you only sleep 4 hours a night.
Oh, I have to sleep. I know.
Yeah,
those all fit too. So Trish, and
that's great. So I'll inspire.
It's not gonna take very long. It's fast. I'm not concerned.
I'll I'll inspire a meeting with you and I'll start looking at the documents and you guys, if that's okay.
Have admin send out those 2 resolutions in advance that are mentioned here to the full mission. I think Quinn mentioned one and Stephen Stocks mentioned one.
Policy.
Yeah, I can send the one, I can send the really old one and then Quinn will send the other one. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so a motion to adjourn, or do I just adjourn?
Just adjourning.
I just adjourn.
There's no objections.
So we are adjourned. Thank you very much at